We'll start at 5, 4, 3, 2. We thank you for tuning in to this in-between episode of Master Not. Normally, you would have an announcement here, but today we are here relaxing in cool jazz. Take a moment as we enjoy the weather, which seems to have turned for a darker turn. What was once a normal sunny day now seems to be a cloudy and sort of weepful day, despite the beautiful wedding we had earlier. We would
Yeah,
like
so
to
we're
welcome
gonna
you
have breakdowns this episode.
Enjoy.
GM there. Because there is no smooth jazz for this earthquake of an episode.
What the
we'll just imagine that that's when somebody clicks the channel over to something different. Smooth jazz involved. Hell nah. By the way, I'd like to introduce you to our players in the in between. We have currently Puddles, the water being.
I can't do that again.
Ben-
I can't do that again. I can't do that again.
Spencer, the super cat.
I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna get involved. Oh no, he's crying.
Ranzian, the matter manipulator.
Oh, I hope that didn't break anything. Oh, that did not feel nice.
And Jace, the technomancer.
I am perfectly fine. I don't need any help.
We're really missing is our living dead girl, Dahlia, but she will more than likely be enjoying a weekend here soon. We cut over into the workshop where Jace has finally allowed himself to relax and the workshop of the base that Jace has finally set down to relax, retire, taking a moment alone where Rockin' Prime is the only thing keeping him company. Jace feels an itch in his mind. Take it away, Jace.
Jace takes a long, deep breath before looking over to Rockin' Prime for a moment and just very gently reaching over and saying, "I'm sorry, bud. Could you maybe just for 1 minute head outside or turn off whichever? I I appreciate your company, but I do genuinely feel like I need to be alone for a few moments."
Uh, Registering. Error! I can't abandon you, my good master. But if you need me to power down, I will shut function off for 5 minutes. If you wish
Thank
to
you.
adjust this time,
5 minutes is fine.
understood. I will reconvene in 5 minutes. Please enjoy the. As you feel yourself slowly lowering down to the wheel section of your wheelchair.
Jace sits there for a couple moments in silence, just processing that he's not hearing Rockin' Prime in his head for once. And then there is this. I suppose it would probably be perceptions on the part of the others at the base to hear it if anybody else has come back from the wedding at this point or not. I don't think anybody else had come back by the time Jace had arrived. But he
Unfortunately to you, there is one speedy being who can drop people off and continue to move at breakneck pace, as there is a slight purring over at the doorway at the very beginning of the base, as Spencer is peeking in, only to be met and gestured by the hands of Daniel and Stringent, who seem to be enjoying some of the previous videos of the day, some of the recordings of the day from the different sightings of different fightings, from the earlier bank robbing to the mole man that was previously not kept down. Spencer, as you're regaling this, what sound do you hear echoing one more time? Jace, what sound were you making?
Jace, despite his room being a fair bit soundproofed, just to make sure that none of the sounds of him working or tinkering disrupt others who might be resting in the base, like Daniel, Stringent, the others. But there is just this scream from Jace, and the sound of I guess it would be perception to pick up anything beyond that, because I'm not sure if there would be thunder associated with just internal lightning strikes that don't go from atmosphere to ground, but from source to walls.
We will not need to roll for this session. We'll say from Daniel's perspective, he doesn't hear anything. He's too busy enjoying the video. Stringent picks up on the scream, looks over at Spencer, who also picks up on the scream. And Stringent, knowing that Spencer is more friendlier to Jace, gives a nod to quietly ask, mind checking up on him?
Spencer's gonna give a soft nod and gently tiptoe down the hall and just kind of. Is the door half open or has it been closed entirely?
The door is currently closed entirely. I think Jace probably would have locked it as well, but Jace didn't Spencer-proof his room. He Spencer-proofed Spencer's room in the training hall.
I'm gonna put my ear up to the door and just kind of listen in for a little bit.
You can probably hear the sound of intermittent, just bursts of lightning striking things and the associated sizzle that comes from materials that have just been struck by lightning, as well as Jace not crying or weeping, but it's clear he's trying to keep it together as best he can. And what you don't hear is the associated hum of his hover chair at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna ask if there are any like spaces under the door, or is it like there's a lock? Is there like a keyhole on it, or?
You know from previous experience that Jace makes these doors to be resistant to heavy blasting. There isn't any real gaps in this door. It is made.
I think the best description I could provide, you know, in sci-fi where they'll have those doors that push out and slide to one side rather than swinging open, I imagine he's built them like that as blast doors.
Beautiful. Spencer's going to gently, ever so gently, kind of put his fingertips towards the edge of the door, extend his claws just so he can grab on the actual edge of it, and gently pull it open to see through the crack.
You can see that his wheelchair is fully on the floor for once, and Jace is there just weeping. And
Your senses pick up the smell of charred metal as the air takes on a positive smell once you start forcing the door gear by gear to slowly creak open as you peer through carefully. Note carefully.
Now, DM, I'm gonna make a slight correction. Instead of charred metal, it smells like ozone.
Ozone, charred metal. You are familiar with lightning in a bottle, and this is what it is.
it smells like a cathode ray tube TV.
Ah, yes, I know that smell very well. I used to lick them all the time as a child, Spencer says, in his head. Totally not out loud.
Would that be a will save to not say it out loud so that Jace isn't just looking at him now?
I guess it would be it's not going to be a will save. He's at least a 0 intelligence.
Fair enough, I guess.
2 in will, 0 intelligence, meaning he mildly understands.
I have average intelligence. I'm not just going to go ahead and say that out loud while you're having your moment.
But for the moment, Jace is just trying to hold it together. I'd say the one thing that, depending on how much Spencer knows about Jace's powers, or if he's taken the time to try and better comprehend them, you've seen gold lightning tonight, and you know Jace usually uses this sort of royal blue to cerulean lightning.
Yeah.
Some of the lightning that's coming off of him is a fair bit darker than his normal colors.
Such as?
The one that is the deepest that you see is on the spectrum between indigo and violet.
Good thing I can see that with ultravision.
Yeah, that's why I described it that way.
Beautiful. Spencer's going to gently kind of open the door mechanism, allowing just enough space for him to come in behind without making too much noise. And he's gonna slowly let the door close behind him. And he's gonna kind of stand there for a few moments, just kind of taking it in. Tell me, Jace, what emotions do I see?
Definitely getting feelings of sorrow, regret. There's some anger in there. There's lament. And Jace is trying. I'm not sure if this would be visible to your senses, but it feels like he's desperately trying to split those emotions up and compartmentalize them.
I can physically see your soul, so I believe that is true. I can see that.
In that case, you also see the little blue clouds that Ace mentioned in a previous session, and there is just occasional flashes of purple in it.
I understand. And
Nor-
Spencer's going to go ahead.
It sends shiver up your spine seeing something in such detail. Normally, when people's souls exist, they just shimmer and change. They vapor and even turn. Like you've seen multiple times how transient can have multiple shapes and then shift to all red depending on his state of mood. But for Jace here, watching as each emotion appears to try to go left and right completely, whether it's determination or anxiety trying to push against two separate walls. This is the first time you're seeing an actual change in substance amongst the thunderclouds as it turns its dark purple shade.
Spencer's going to see this. And as that happens, he's going to. He's not going to say much, but Jace, you feel too familiar. Which way are you facing, I would say? Away from Spencer or towards him?
Away from the door, he's facing his workbench and he's kind of grabbing onto it, trying to calm himself down.
Spencer is going. You feel too, not like unreasonably strong, but two strong hands gently come over. You know, like how a friend will just like gently hug you from behind when they know you're going through something. He's going to place one arm around your side and one arm over your shoulder and just kind of lean in and pull your, like, as if nudging your head towards his chest so you can at least cry into something. But that's only if, you allow him to do that.
I know exactly what you're talking about, Spencer. However, Jace does not. And Jace, in response to this, he knows it's you. He's not that stupid and he's not that distracted by his own emotions. But all you get back from him, just very simply, is a let's go.
Spencer's going to let go, but he isn't going to let go. Let me explain what I mean by that. Are you in a chair currently?
I am in Rockin' Prime, but I'm in Rockin' Prime, but he is currently deactivated, so it's just a normal wheelchair for the moment. I mean, it's not a normal wheelchair. It still looks like the shit Professor X rides around in, but it's a normal wheelchair functionally.
Spencer's going to let go because you asked him to. But he is going to kind of support you from behind, kind of give you a rub on the back slightly. He's trying to be there for you. You can realize that, but he's not like grabbing you or hugging you because you asked him not to. And he's going to say something along the lines of, okay, take your time.
Respectfully, Spencer, while I appreciate the effort, I don't need company at the moment. And I certainly don't need pity.
Well, if you mind me, don't, sorry, not mind. If you don't mind, it's not pity. And to be very honest, I've been where you have been before. It's one of the reasons I have so many of my, he does air quotes, forms. When I was younger and on my own, after, well, even before Wilda, I had a lot of siblings, and I had a mom and a dad, and they were cats, obviously, but they didn't make it as far down the road as I did, if you catch my meaning. I've been alone most of my life, and then one day Wilda walked into it. I know what it's like to be alone when you're suffering, and I understand that you want to be alone for this. And I respect that, and I will abide by your wish, but just this once, I'm going to be right here by your side while it happens. It's okay. I I want you to know that even if you completely let go, if you let everything out, I'll be there to pick up the pieces if you need to. Need me
I'm
to.
not really sure, Spencer, what pieces you think there are to pick up. I understand and have heard about your background, and I understand what you went through. And to a certain extent, I understand that feeling of being alone pretty damn well. But you just spelled out the problem with trying to sympathize our stories. Your family were cats. And what's more, they didn't leave you behind by choice. If they had, they wouldn't have had the capacity to know better. But my parents left me by choice, and they definitely had the capacity to know better, and they didn't. And you know what makes it worse? I finally find my family again. And everywhere I look, it is pity, it is fear, it is horror. I didn't come back to the family I wanted. I came back to a family that had moved on without me and that saw me and could only think of their own fucking mistakes. That's all I was last night. I was a reminder of what they'd done wrong. Nobody wants that on their happiest day. Nobody.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to make a check here, and I know you asked for no checks, but I have to make this because I want the dice to decide
I'm
this.
going to even add flavor to this as you're still somewhat holding on to him as he continues on with his breaking down the 2 points as he makes very certain you understand with each point he makes. There's a certain crack in the room. That ozone feeling gets stronger with each crack, with each point he makes. Every time he speaks of his family, every time he points of coming back to horror, to pity, it keeps crackling louder and louder in that room.
Spencer, he doesn't speak with a crackle. He doesn't speak with a purr, and he doesn't sound like he's being pitiful at all. He's going to say, from the bottom of his heart, as heartfelt as I can make this sound, he's going to say, just so I'm clear before I say it, basically, Jace just spelled out that he feels like an absolute mistake and a reminder of nothing but disappointment and pity and horror, correct?
That, and he feels that his family deliberately abandoned him, and that's why they see him as a mistake. Clearly, they didn't want him in the first place, and all the reads he got on everyone last night told him that they still don't want him.
Spencer's going to start this off as honestly as he can. He's going to go, I never told Wilda this, but she wasn't my first donor. I did have a family before this, a real one, with a nice boy and 2 parents. And that family, well, the father ended up in a really bad place because he hurt the other 2. He kept calling them mistakes or choices that he had to make but didn't want to. And that he hurt them because he loved them, but I don't think I understand it that way. I think he was afraid. Afraid of the fact that for the first time in his life, people depended upon him. And I was afraid too. I didn't want to lose people that were important to me. The first people to ever really care about me. And no, this isn't pity that I'm trying to show you. If you want my very honest opinion about what I think about you and how I see you, you're my hero, Jace. Yeah, I'm strong and fast, and I try my best to be a good hero, but that's only because I've seen you do it. I watch cartoons on the TV, and I do everything I can to try and emulate that and be morally correct, but when I think about it, you're the smart one. You're the one who always figures things out. You're the one who made me want to be a hero. When I first saw you in the military base, all I could think about was where I came from. A cold, dark place. And maybe, yeah, I didn't have a choice to be there. Maybe my parents didn't have a choice either. But I know your parents, however wrong of a decision it might have been, wouldn't. I know your parents made a bad decision. But even if they did, and even if your family does see you that way, which I don't think they do, and that's because I look on the bright side of things, but even if you have no one else, you're my hero, Jace. With all your mistakes and flaws and everything, you're the one person I look up to more than anyone else, even Wilda. I know that's a little weird to say, but Wilda has people she looks up to, and, well, I have my own. I love her, but there are people that I admire more than her, at least in spirit. You're strong, you're smart, and you're brave. You walked into that wedding knowing what might happen, but you did it anyways. You confronted the one person in your family who'd been hurting everyone, even those who had wronged you. Maybe there's more to that story that you're not hearing, and maybe there's more we'll never know. But right now, the most important thing to me in this room, in this base, in this town, at this moment, is you. Because I'm not leaving my new family behind, and I'm not going to let them suffer alone.
Daniel peeks around. Hey, I got a pizza on the way. Who wants some?
Just
I appreciate the sentiment, Spencer. The thought is nice. And under different circumstances, maybe if we had met earlier, I would have been able to fully place my faith in everything you just said. But we didn't. And I know for a fact you were already being a hero long before we met. So even if I am some kind of inspiration, even if I have in some way driven you to be better, do not lie to me and say I'm the reason you want to be a hero. Do not lie to me and try to tell me things I know aren't true.
Daniel realizes his mistake and goes, I will come back to you guys in an hour. Sorry about that. Ah!
I have done everything I can to be positive like you. I spent 10 years looking on the bright side, Spencer. And since I got out, the happiest day of my life has been the day I got away. And ever since then, it has been constant reminders and kicks in the back that have taught me that I am not going to feel better. I'm not going to find the bright side. I had the bright idea that maybe I'd get out and reunite with my family and that I'd be better again. That I could just go back to being happy. The wedding proved me wrong. I knew it could happen, but I still held out hope. And that hope was betrayed. I held out hope that the rest of the world wouldn't look at me like Himmel did. And I've found a few people who don't. But every single time since we have gotten working together, some point during our misadventures, there's always someone to remind me, hey, you're the odd man out. You're the freak in the chair. Hell, even my own powers reminded me tonight that I'm the freak in the damn chair. I even used my powers to leave the chair behind. And you know what happened? I figured out I'm stronger in it. Fucking fantastic. I'm better off being the freak. So, Spencer, if you really appreciate my wishes to be alone, then please leave. Don't stand here and try to comfort me with sweet little lies. Because quite frankly, they're just gonna make it worse. And God knows I don't need this feeling to be any worse than it already is.
Spencer is going to sit there and think for a few moments, like actually think. And he's going to go, well, you were wrong about one thing.
Please, enlighten me.
You've known me long enough to know that I don't really lie. I might not get it out the right way, but if I'm supposed to be, I don't know, some sort of representation of goodness, then I can't lie.
No, I don't think that's true either. Because sometimes, just sometimes, I know that people will tell lies with good intentions. People will tell lies of omissions, or they'll readjust how something happened to try and make people feel better, or to try and frame the situation in a way where people don't get hurt. But listen, Spencer. I know that you're trying to be good. I know you want to help. I know you're a good friend, and I am blessed to have you for that. I appreciate it, because I don't fucking have many. But I don't want to hear it right now. Later is fine. Give me just some time to try and work through this so that I will be able to process what you're trying to tell me. I'll be able to think about it for once. Because thinking's one of the few things I'm good at, and right now I can barely do that right. So just leave it alone. Leave me alone for a while. I've only got another minute and a half at most before I have Rockin' Prime in my head again, offering me PSAs about mental health and about why you should talk to people or visit psychiatrists. And it's just going to drive me up the damn wall if I don't have any time to think to myself before that happens. So just before I have to hear everything in my head again, and before I have to talk to people and be social and be the smart one who figures everything out, just give me some time to be a normal person who's hurt. I don't want to be the super genius right now. I just want to be Jace. So let me have this, Spencer. Please.
Spencer's gonna look down at Rocking Prime with the most menacing look he could possibly give, which really just looks like cat eyes at the moment. Really hoping that Jace has the time to think about things before he turns back on. And he's going to go something along the lines of, well, if that's what you want.
It is. As a show of thanks, you can have whatever portion of that pizza would have been mine. I can assure you that I am not going to be hungry tonight. And I'm sure you are plenty hungry after using the belt. Let's go eat. Have fun with the others. Head back to the wedding maybe and hang out with Wilda. I'm sure she needs you after everything she's been through. Right now, just leave me alone for a little while, alright?
Spencer's going to nod. And then he's going to look at the door and go, I'll close it on the way out. I'll close it on the way out. And he's going to walk over to the door and, as gently as possible, force the door back into its normal position.
And, I'd say a good place to leave this is that not long after Spencer leaves, there's about a solid 30 to 45 seconds in which Jace is able to cry, and then you hear another PSA queuing up.
PSA. Listen.
PSA. Yeah. I
Here's
mean, we
here's
could
my
have a
suggestion,
PSA,
Mayor.
You don't need to do the PSA, DM. Feel free to
Or-
cut to somebody else.
or right as we're about to cut to somebody else, you just hear a bit of a bit of lightning cracking behind you before a couple of gears just randomly turn from nowhere. You don't remember having a machine set yet, but gears are turning.
DM, I'd like to suggest that the PSA is, did you know it's okay to let it out?
Let me check my sheet and see what Rockin' Prime's wisdom and intelligence are. He might actually be capable.
He should be.
He has an awareness of 3 and an intelligence of 1.
That's enough, I would say.
Yeah, I guess we could say that behind the gear, coming up behind, or muffling the gears that are turning is a PSA about making sure to take an hour's rest, meditate, maybe even find some time to take a personal hobby to relax. And back over across in the residential area, back at home. Were we going to have the two of you over at the Thrustles or over at the Follingers? Puddle and Transit.
So which one are you trying to do first?
Checking the list. You know, we will have Wilda go first, if that's okay.
Wilda's is private between her and her mother.
All right, but it's still being recorded so everyone else can hear.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying there are no other characters other than Wilda and her mother.
All right, we will go up until we are done with the mother bit and before we go into the father knowing about the gods. Sound good?
Sounds good, but remember, Transient's gotta have his done before we do my last one.
Of course. Well, he'll be the next one to go for his portion.
Okay.
So Wilda is currently. I guess she would be starting off in her bedroom after taking a moment to finally let things wind down, right? Not sitting on her bed though. God help you with that bed.
Yeah, just sitting on the floor, tail between her legs, ears flat on her head,
It
trying
still
to hold it
feels.
together.
It still feels alien having these new pieces on you, especially after just previously almost melting most of the time. These strange occurrences to you, they're becoming much as you can feel yourself growing frustrated with all this. Take it away.
Wilda will be silently crying on the floor. For a few minutes before getting up and finding her mother.
The comfort of your room seems to give way to the coolness inside the hallway as nighttime has come, cooling down the summer air or the autumn air in your desert home. Your dad is currently out, probably making some purchases for dinner tonight.
Uh,
God help you with Spencer's dietary.
this would be after the wedding. Dad got drunk.
Right. He can't be driving.
Mm-hmm.
Your brother took him. Keep an eye on him, but more than likely, it's going to be a quick shopping. Probably a drive-through through one of the nearby food areas. It's embarrassing already talking about it. Just the image of a young man trying to apologize for his drunken father's conduct. But we're not here to talk about the boys, aren't we? As you venture down the stairs, noticing that no one else is inside the domicile, you do hear your mother seeming to hum inside her little hideaway. She's grown more relaxed now that she's already revealed it to all of you and has been doing more periodic checks despite her gallons of drinking. I don't know if I feel it appropriate to say that as you go down there, she is drinking out of the comical 42-ounce mug. You don't want to know what liquid is in there, but you already have hints from the smell that it is definitely alcoholic in nature. It is too bitter in the area around her.
Mom?
Mm. Mm? Wilda. Wilda. What brings you over? Everything okay, hon? Did you enjoy the wedding? Quite nice, wasn't it? A little spooky with
Wilda's just
some.
standing there taking deep breaths, about to cry.
Is something the matter as she realizes that you now have dog ears and a wolf tail? She blinks, sips, blinks some more, sips again.
I'm also in pajama shorts, so the tattoo's showing as well.
She takes a sip before realizing that you have tattoo, and you watch as the now burgundy wine reveal dribbles down her bottom lip and jaw as she stares at your tattoo. She wipes her mouth and then gives you not a disappointed look, but more of a very impressed yet concerned look. This morning you were quivering and hard to convince to get into your dress on time, and you were constantly hanging out with your friends. Well, was it because they were trying to push this on you? And is that a new fad, or
No.
is that so? It's part of the. Uh, I, I wasn't seeing wolf DNA in your genetics, so I have to ask: is this part of the slag?
No. No, it's not. I I don't know why they're there. I know the tattoo's there because I connected with Hati. I
Who's
don't
Hottie?
know.
Honey, are you okay? Look at me. As she pulls you in, despite her alcohol breath, uh, somewhat starting to simmer down.
I can't do it anymore, Mom. I can't. I can't keep turning into water. I don't want to be. I just. I don't want. I can't. Can't.
Okay. It's okay. You're not gonna become water. You're not gonna become water, hon. It's okay. I got you.
But I already become water, Mom. I can't do it again. I was trapped, and even when I came kinda out, it was scary, and I just can't. I can't.
It's okay. You don't have to turn back. You don't have to if you don't want to. You,
Except I do every night when I go to bed. I'm losing control. I can't do it
you she holds you tighter as you grieve into her.
anymore. I saw the
Feel a couple.
paperwork, Mom.
I was really was trying not to let you see that. She starts
There's,
petting your head.
there's a small chance I've gotta take it. I can't do this. I can't do this anymore.
And I want to take it away from you. I want to do it. I want to get it out of you as quickly as possible. I want to make you normal. But right now, what I have is theories. I'm still trying to find the safest route to even begin the practice, much less find the right path, solution. What we have are just theorems, hypotheses. Shining light through a blood cell is not the same as literally trying to reach through your DNA helix. You know this. I need you to keep having patience. I need you to keep being strong.
I don't think I can. I don't think I can be strong. They need me on the team, but I can't. Can't do it. Can't do it anymore.
It's a heartbreaking scene as a mother holds her daughter who cries, begging begging for the changes to stop. And much to her dismay, the mother, and all her research, all her trying, does not know the right way to go about it without hurting you. You pat your head a few times before picking your head up and looking her in the eye. I'm going to do everything I can to find an answer, find a cure, a way to pull all of this out of you so you can be normal. But I need you to be strong until then. I need you to have patience with me until then. I will do everything I can to help you. You know this. I love you, my daughter. My dear Wilhelmina. My dear Yeah. Sorry. Damn, slip of the fucking tongue. My dear Wilda.
What if I get stuck permanently and you can't?
I'll fight God if I have to. I will find an answer. If if Jesus can turn water to wine, I mean, what's to stop me from turning my daughter back to normal? I will find a way to make you right. I just need you to keep doing what's right in you. So how about you start telling me how you've been feeling? What happened when you last changed the water? I haven't seen you during that whole point. What happened? She grips your hands tightly, wants to let you know that she trusts your words, and to let you know that she's right there with you. You can flavor it as you go over how you went about during the day up until you were hit by the lightning. Then you can go on from there
We,
before feet.
I used a belt to help put out that factory fire, but it shocked me when it shocked me when it deactivated, and it hurt so much. Hurt so much, and then we had to go fix me. We had to go fix my soul. And it was weird, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. But I turned into a wolf, and I ran beside. I ran beside a god. He took a liking to me, and
You didn't go make any deals, did you?
I don't think so. But I don't know. I just know that I got caught and the lightning hit me. I kept going around in a wintry place. No exits. It was cold.
As soon as you mention it was cold, she kisses your knuckles in her hands. She pulls you into a hug, kissing your forehead, and holds you tightly for a bit before letting you breathe back.
And even when they were able to kind of wake me up, it was so hard to move. So hard to talk, so I made images on the water.
That's using your noodle. Always smart. Always found a way to communicate.
It wasn't good, and I don't want to be water anymore. I can't even go to bed. I can't. It's too scary.
Uh, we'll find something in the meantime. Maybe some rubber sheets, maybe a whole new mattress that doesn't absorb water, or even her lips quiver as she tells as you hear what could have been the beginnings of the waterbed suggestion before she stops herself and goes, "We'll find a way. We will find a way. We'll find something for you to lay in." Thank you for coming to be with us. I don't want to make you suffer. She holds you tightly. No, it, she holds you enough before letting you up, letting go of your hands. Okay. So you used this belt, and did that break your? Did that cause the crack in your soul? Forgive me, I'm missing a little bit.
I had one already. When I saved a friend. Well, no, I saved the sky. He They threw someone who's the opposite of me up there to explode and heat up everything. So I used my ice powers while in water form and cooled everything down. It
Hey,
hurt so much.
during that school day, I was reading the
Yeah,
temperature. I was reading what I was watching the temperature readings go wild. That was just, oh goodness, hon. Oh, my baby girl, I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
I did it. I saved everyone. And
You
I don't
did.
even think my friends know.
I know now, and I'm so thankful that you're still here with us. My brave girl. Saving the world one piece at a time. You feel moisture in your hair as you can hear her breathing start to become a bit rough in between breaths. Your mother is crying over you. A mixture of pride, terror, and sadness pulling up in her eyes every time you look up.
I'm just gonna hug her.
And she hugs you back. Okay. So you put on a belt and it made a suit, and that didn't make that didn't cause the cracking of your soul, but
It made it worse. It's the same belt that Edward used.
the one that was pulling at the slag, right? The
Mhm.
the curiosity starting to pick up a bit as she pulls back to look you in the eye. What did you feel during that? What all do you remember?
I remember the whole thing, Mom. I was taller. The metal felt like skin. And I made things so cold. I may have brought things close to absolute zero, Mom.
I mean, you had originally shown signs that you could go as low as 20 degrees, but absolute zero.
I was able to put out the entire fire in one go.
Her eyes roll for a second as she realizes, oh, there was another fire. Oh God, there was a fire. Before she looks back at you, you said you went to go heal your soul. How? Wait. You said there was a shaman.
Yeah, we went to the natives.
At this, your mother blinks for a bit before reaching over and taking another swig of the red wine that she was, of the burgundy wine that she was drinking, putting it back down, coughing, wiping it up. Okay, which tribe?
You'd have to ask Spencer.
A couple of blinks. Ah, okay, Mr. Scritch's friends.
Yeah.
I want to say those would be maybe the Navajo, Shoshone, maybe. Did they have a thing today? I can barely recall. But you know what? It's okay. Did you said that there you when you went to go heal your soul, you saw a god and you ran
Heimdall.
with
We saw
you ran with
Heimdall first. We went to a lady named Black Betty who made us go make her a screwdriver with ice, which is an abomination, as you've told me.
ah uh uh oh wait, her name was okay, okay. I besides the besides that, What else did you see and hear? It, I'm sorry if I'm prying and if I'm making you hurt your making you think too much. You just it's already piquing my curiosity. But if between if there was some harmonics that we can utilize,
You probably should know what I look like. I was half water, half ice.
her eyes take a moment to adjust as she imagines the form. She holds your hand before going, that sounds beautiful.
It was hard to move.
My I can only imagine. I mean, were you were you feeling like you were trapped in ice, or were your limbs made of ice? Could you control it?
Not
This
really. I mean, I felt the hardness as I stepped, but it kept swirling and swirling and swirling.
Hmm. I cannot make any guarantees on finding a way to reach that other side. Maybe if we could meet these friends of Spencer's one of these days. Much less talk to your friend Jace there. If this belt is also helping manipulate the slag in some way, might be a key to my research. If you think he'll have the time for that.
He might, but he needs time right now. His family wasn't kind to him.
I'm sure most families do get a bit rambunctious during weddings. It could have been that bad, could it?
They looked at him like he was a monster, Mom.
She goes back to hugging you again.
When I'm the one who's really the monster.
No, no. You didn't hurt anyone.
Well,
You
that's
saved
what they
people.
call me. The water monster. That's how I have to identify to people.
And people will claim anything as a monster they don't understand. You have to understand, people are terrified of the strange, the unknown, the weird.
I made several gods piss themselves, Mom. I'm a monster.
Uh, you are not a monster. To hell with what the gods say. You're my hero. Look at me. There isn't anything I would do to change you to something you don't want to be. And there is nothing I will stop at that will make you feel better. To make you to not to make you feel better. You keep doing what you can, and I'll keep doing what I can.
Okay.
Besides, I can't help but see it in your eyes every so often. You like helping people, don't you?
I do.
And there's nothing wrong with that, my dear. Just gotta remember to take care of yourself too. All right. So, when you got shocked the second time, you lost you lost the ability to move until what
I couldn't
changed?
even see. I couldn't do anything. I was just trapped in that cold place. And then I felt Edward and I moved towards the surface.
And that's when you're able to start pulling yourself back together, huh?
I still wasn't able to move. I looked at the clock. I was stuck for 4 hours, Mom.
There's slight rocking in her motions as she holds you, letting you cry, letting you pour out your fear.
I,
I'm so sorry.
I can't keep doing this. I can't. I can't.
I know, my baby. I know. I'll keep looking for answers, okay? I just need you to keep being brave.
Okay.
I need you to keep being strong.
Okay.
Give me a moment. I have something. I'm just trying to work up the line and the emotion.
Okay.
He rocks back a bit before looking back up at you. There's a saying that my mom used to tell me growing up. People like to think that strength is a tall tree. And that can be helpful for a lot of boys, for a lot of girls. But for us, our strength is like water. In a cup, it's not much, maybe enough to quench a thirst. But when someone else is in danger, that cup can become a river. And that river can rage like an ocean. She hugs you tightly. Be strong. Be as strong as the ocean is deep. That's what my mom tells me. And that's what I'm telling you now. Especially with how strong you are. Just imagine that being a cup right now. Imagine the moments you saved us. Imagine the moment of raging through the burnt sky. So when you're a river, if you can understand that, if you can find a way to feel those, then your strength will be indomitable. Because nothing. She looks you in the eye, tears running down her cheeks, but with a smile of certainty. Nothing can outrun the ocean.
Okay.
Now, I don't know when your dad's gonna be back, much less when your brother's gonna be back. Your dad was horribly, horribly hammered off of 2 drinks. Probably the most I've seen him drink in a day. So, let's be ready to help your brother out once he gets back in. Can we
Okay.
do that?
Mm-hmm.
And hey, she pulls some paperwork out from behind her area. Since you already saw it, here. She hands you a copy of her current documentation of what she has. I'm not sure how well you'll be able to understand it, but there should be some gist in there, and hopefully
Okay.
we can find a. Hopefully your friends might be able to use it to find a correlation.
They probably can. Walter will just go sit on the couch, reading, waiting for Jess and Dad to come home.
All right, give me a couple seconds, and we will shift over to transient app to find out what happened. What happens when you pull truth out from within? Transient. Where are you currently sitting at the moment once getting back from the wedding?
So, transient, after taking a little nap back on Wilda's lap, back from the wedding, she wakes him up and he goes with his parents back to his house.
You are helped out from your seat, still seeing that have that slight limp and pain coursing through your nervous system. The bruising is still receding, so it's mostly just inside. Your mother gives you a admonishing look, as though she wasn't expecting you to get into fights. Your father reminds her of the wonderful benefits of having a son, as a thick wallet is padded.
Oh, good, you got the gift.
I didn't want to say anything outside, inside, but that my boy, that my boy.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't
Just
believe it.
glad to cover college expenses for a while.
Definitely more than that. I think you also helped buy mom's new dress. Kisaragi is about to make a comment, but at the mention of a new dress, she stops, thinks for a second, and gives a devilish smile to your father before looking at you with a switching from devilish to motherly. All right, I will admit, you did good out there, my boy. Come here.
Yeah.
She pulls you into a
No.
hug.
Nope. Ow. Ow. Ow.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. You're tough. You're strong, and you're gonna explain to me what happened, right?
And as he coughs, a red stone is ejected from his mouth.
It clatters on the ground inside your domicile, inside your home, and your father and your mother stop as the door closes. There's a small bit of silence as Heinrich steps down and picks up and examines the stone. Edward, Edward, are you okay?
I may have done something very stupid.
You're going straight to sit down right now, young man. What happened?
Oh, facing off against a deity level threat kind of pulled something out.
You were what? There was what? What do you mean by deity level threats? You're telling me gods were wandering about, or there's a godlike child? Is this slag really becoming that problematic?
Oh, it was only Zeus in one of his stupid experiments again.
Oh, great. Only Zeus in one of his experiments. What the fuck do you mean, Zeus? Your dad, like, drops a hard F bomb. Your mother looks over. Language! Now, what in heaven's name do you mean by Zeus?
Zeus, god of the sky, thunder, lightning,
Yeah,
and
I get, I
assholery.
your mother seems more on edge. Like, I understand who Zeus is. What do you mean who Zeus is, and why was he at the wedding?
Oh, it was the bride's grandfather.
And why were you? He was what now?
The bride's grandfather.
Did I ever make a mention of what grandfather Amp's first name was? Did we ever come to a consensus on that?
You'd have to ask Jace for that.
Jace. Jace, heartbreak aside, I need confirmation.
Of what now?
Did we ever come up with a grandfather's name? Despite the fact that he's an avatar of Zeus.
I believe his name was Andreas. Andreas Watts. No, wait, I'm thinking of something else. It's not Andreas. Hang on. It was God, my brain is failing me. I believe it was Albrecht. Put it in general chat.
Thank you.
Is that all that was needed? Am I needed for more?
The grandmother's name, too.
I don't think we had one for that. Give me a second. I'll bullshit one on the spot.
Thank you.
Like any good GM.
Gaia, please hang on a second. My dog is whining. Give me a moment. Lucretia.
Right.
So
Type that down. Type
Lucretia.
that down.
Is that all that is required?
did you had to use the Eldritch
No,
Horror
I did
to get
not.
that?
That-
Okay.
Both of those were off the top of my head, actually. That's why it took so long. If it was the Eldritch Horror, it would have been faster. But if that is all that is required of me, I will return to the sad dimension.
Dry your eyes until you're ready to split them apart, young man. Thank you.
Back to the sad dimension.
Meanwhile, back at Edward's place, the revelation that Albert Watt and Lucretia Watt, Albert and Lucretia Watt, let me just rephrase it so that I can do that.
Never mentioned
properly.
Lucretia Watts yet.
All right, fine. Albert Watt, the grandfather, and bride's bride's father,
Grandfather. Still
Yeah.
there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait. So you're just telling me that Mr. Albert Watts, the owner of the Watts company, the one fourth investor of our own mine, and more than likely holds the Watt family holds over a quarter of the stock value in half of this town. You can't
Is
throw
a
a window
god.
without ruining their building, and you're telling us that's a god.
Yes, quite. Packs quite a punch.
So I'm oh goodness. I mean, so long as you didn't go trying alchemy on it, did you?
Alchemy, no. Still like a
Okay.
portion of my soul, yes.
You what?
I might have tried alchemy. Managed to take his arms for a little bit.
What do you mean, little bit? What is the? Okay, you're hitting us with somebody loves here, son. I don't know what's right. Our stockholder is a god, and our son fist fought a god. It stole a portion of his soul. How are you feeling?
Oh, not so good. My chest is feeling a bit bad.
How bad is it
And
feeling?
he starts taking off the tie and unbuttoning the shirt.
You unbutton the shirt and you reveal. What do we agree upon? Like you're still like.
Oh, I got something much, much worse.
Oh, please paint the portrait if you would.
So as the first buttons start coming down, there's red marks starting at the top of his chest. And as it becomes more and more revealed, a pale white in the core of an alchemy circle that covers the entirety of his chest. The center pentagram is a pure, unblemished, almost staticky white. Oh, that can't be good.
Honey, I'm gonna go grab. I'm grabbing the first aid kit. You sit right there, young man. I'll be right back. You better. I will be right back. When did this happen?
Well, it wasn't here this morning.
I meant like during the wedding, somewhere between 5 and 8. When?
Oh, about the time I handed Dad a bowl of water. That was Wilda.
What you that would be me. I'm still right here. Your mom went to go grab the. Okay, so that was Wilda. I thought she was able to. move when she was. Oh wait, I no, you're right.
Uh,
I almost forgot. I was fighting Cyrus with it. Do you know how awkward it is having to explain why we're fighting over a bowl of water?
he was drunk. He could have explained it away that way.
He gets drunk? No, that's an off-topic question. I'll come back to that.
There may have been a few more gods there too.
Oh, lovely. How many? I'm still reeling from the fact that more than one god existed. Did they? Are they? Do they recognize each other as gods? Do they say, "Oh me"? Do they? Is there? Do they believe in one god?
They were kind of guests, somewhat.
Guests to the wedding as well, huh? Go on.
Let's see, who were they again? It's a little hazy after Truth came out. Ah, Loki, Thor, Susanoo, Hera. Could have sworn there was at least one more, but
Harley. Uh, once more, can we go over your red mark on your body? Can you re-describe it one more time for both me and the guests at home?
give me 1 second. So you'll have to repeat the question real fast. It's a little hard to concentrate.
I was asking about I, as the DM, is asking about the look of the mark one more time.
It's in
Oh,
heroic examples. The entire center pentagon is pure white.
mm, mm.
For those of you at home who have seen Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, it's the countrywide alchemy circle that was used by Father.
Hmm. So wow, that's those guys aren't even on the same pantheon. Why were they all meeting each other? What was? Don't tell me the wedding was a gathering for them.
I'm not sure, but I think Loki and Thor were invited as part of the other family.
No, then you're suggesting that the that the give me a second as I'm backtracking my brain to one more time.
The Amps family.
Thank you. You're telling me that the Amps family have connections with the Norse mythology?
Maybe.
I cannot. I can't. Am I even gonna be able to bring this up over at the next meeting? Do we even go with the Norse design? Did the Norse designs even approve of certain?
I might have yelled at all of them.
That's wait. What do you mean you yelled at all of them? I know you said you had a moment where the truth came out. What did you just yell at them about how alchemy exists, or what do you mean by that?
Oh wait, Hera was there too.
Okay, so
She's really bad at being a family.
Not to take pot shots, but they are Greek. Nah. Let's not focus on who was there at the moment. Let's more. I'm being hit with a reminder that we gave Kenneth Deuteronomy Amps a Persian look, and here we are saying Norse.
Oh, no. He's definitely a descendant of Loki.
All right, with the collar and a face that makes women scream. Yeah, all right, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
You mean the pure smug?
Ah, that Vata smugness, just with that Persian shade. Uh, you're right. He looks smug, but he's actually he has a heart of gold.
Anyways.
Right. All right. But enough talk about gods, which not gonna lie, I'm still reeling from. Let's talk about what caused this. Move out of the way. My turn. As your mother comes back, pushing your father away and telling you to fully remove the shirt, as she has gauze, wraps, band-aids, ointments, full on first aid and plus on here.
I don't think any of that's going to do anything.
You haven't had an attack since your 10th birthday. Drink this.
And what is this?
It's a painkiller that you've been taking ever since up until you were 14. We didn't think you would have a lapse, but here we are. Another 2 years down the lane.
Yeah, I
All of
don't
it, hun.
think this was standard.
Listen, I I know what I'm doing. We've done this before. Now, please finish the drink. Let me check your. That is tender. That is tender. Oh my goodness. The texture of the white pentagon as she presses on it. How would you describe it? Does it like feel like it folds like plastic, or does it feel as hard as wood?
It's more closer to dough for the first, let's say half centimeter, and then it seems to be almost iron or steel.
Oh, honey, oh God, this. Who were you trying to transmutate on? What caused this?
I don't think this was caused by transmutation, necessarily.
What do you mean by that? He says he was talking to God. I, I don't care. What happened when this appeared?
Uh, Truth may have come out.
Right there, I was a bit of a loss by truth. He's talking about the truth. It's one of the things that you and I keep having a discussion about. He does not exist. There is no corporeal being of truth. I was expecting you to interrupt me there.
Not necessarily corporeal, per se. Concept, yes.
So you're telling me that the concept of truth came out from. It's probably more complicated than that. Well, hon, what happened when this appeared?
He may have been berating the gods and explaining some things for them to know, and telling them to get their asses together. It's still kind of hazy after the
do you,
first 30 seconds or so.
as you feel her start to put like a layer of ointment over around the area around the white spot. The ointment is just triple antibiotic, nothing uber fancy. As she comes up to the gauze, she does seem to put an ice cube right where the white part is. There, she fully sets the gauze over it, then starts wrapping it around your chest to where the ice is compressed against the area that's soft like marshmallow up until the iron underlayer, and it helps with your swelling of sorts with the rest of the body.
Yeah, no swelling. Hey, if there is swelling, it's internal. Internal with the stone organs and all that jazz.
Ugh, swelling with stone organs. Ugh, ugh, brother. Ugh.
Hey, they were the one that gave me the stone organs.
I did. So as she's there, okay. I don't know how that's going to work. Just make sure to finish that drink first. Do you recall how you brought out the concept of truth? How you invoked it? Did you alchemize, or did you focus on the stone? Did you focus on your brother?
Brother?
I, I don't want to talk about. I don't feel right. She can't differentiate the stone that got embedded in you from yourself. Your mother's sweet like that. She sees everything that has the ability to speak as its own. If it speaks, it has a soul. Explain dolls with pull strings. Abandonment issues are not gonna bring this back. Let's focus on our son here.
There may be more than one in there at this point.
What do you mean?
That is a philosopher's stone. Or rather, the philosopher's stone.
Yeah, the parents are actually a bit overwhelmed as the father looks at the piece that he's still holding. The mother is looking at you. Before you are carefully picked up, chair included, and brought to the back area, to their personal lab where they normally hang out and do their chats for work at home. You sat down in front of a whiteboard where it was originally showing like some different designs for the up and coming drill that they were going to implement to continue drilling through the mantle, weaving through the lava beds in order to find different pockets of gemstones and minerals, and they wipe all that away to start breaking down, returning the original chemical compound that they've discovered for the Philosopher's Stone that you've seen multiple times. Feel free to describe it at your leisure, because I have yet to fully look up how theoretically the Philosopher's Stone's own personal makeup is. So go wild with it. I'll work with it.
That's the funny thing with depending on which version you want to go with. I will let you decide which one you want to go with. Do you want to go with the Full Metal Alchemist, or do you want to go with Real World?
Give me both, and we'll try to see if we can't error on the side of blurry.
All right. So for those of you at home, a little bit of history. Philosopher's Stone, theorized in real world, was supposed to have been made up of a variety of chemicals and or miasmas that were used to create a solid stone that would be able to transmute something. A variety of earth metals, non-metals, and chemicals were used to supposedly create this stone, in addition to the alchemy circle and the various symbols that are used in old-timey alchemy, which amusingly enough transferred themselves into astrozoology, but we're
Yeah.
not going to go into that. So supposedly the stone was made up of a mixture of liquid mercury, lead, and a couple of other chemicals that I don't remember off the top of my head. Phosphorus was part of that. Uh, it's been a while since I've studied it. Chlorine and I do believe pure oxygen was also portions of this supposed real world philosopher's stone. And each philosopher's stone was made differently by various people. So mixtures varied from person to person. Never functioned, but yeah. For those of you that know Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and the original Full Metal Alchemist, the stones, the red stones that were created, were made up of two things: the souls bound into them and the blood of the victims, effectively.
Ooh.
And the alchemy circle was the transmutation circle used for human alchemy, which, for those of you that managed to get all the way past certain episodes, all the way into Warehouse 11. Sorry, no, it was Warehouse 11 where
Yeah.
Edward altered the transmutation circle to try and create a proper Philosopher's Stone from the liquid failures. He changed it into a 12-sided, was it 12? I believe it was a 12-sided pentagram and a variety of minor differences added on to that. So, and it also used various alchemical symbols, as well as Latin. So if we want to mix, you can use the solid binding agents of real world mixed with souls, Mayor. And a bit of blood, because blood is always seen as a transference of energy or a binder of the soul and body.
We'll have to get into the nitty gritty on a personal level about this for a later revelation. But sounds good.
Dad,
So we.
you made a mistake in one of the alchemical calculations there.
What do you mean mistake? I double checked it 3 times. If I didn't use the 9 side, it's not. It wasn't going to process properly. What should I have used instead?
Well, it depends. If you want it to be a stable chemical reaction, 5, 10, and 12 sides are usually best. If you're wanting proper transference of energy, use the 6 or the 9-sided. And if you're wanting to mix them both, you usually want to keep them inside a proper circle with a mixture of 12-side for stability, an 8-side for transference, and a 5-side for energy management.
There's a pause as your dad attempts to say something, but then he pauses. He reconsiders his thoughts. I need to double check those tapes again. I'm starting to forget what all outer measures we use. I only remember the very most inside, which was the 9 for the energy conversions. I don't. I'm sorry. I'll take this to looking into a bit more as he puts down the stone and then starts drawing up different designs on one side of the board as your mother is already like finishing up certain diagrams for the infusion between human and transmutable items before she looks back at you. So, what triggered truth coming out? Did you force it? Was it a chemical agent? Did you cause a surge? Was the door there? Was the door there, or was it, or did it turn grander? Did he bring the door to your?
I offered him to talk to the gods. Looks like he decided to accept. If you'll excuse me, I think I'm gonna take a little nap.
And yep, that's the painkillers kicking in. You get some good rest. As your dream states start kicking off in your deep sleep, darkness surrounding you, as you stop feeling the pain and stiffness in your gut, you drift off. Your dream seems to be more relaxing as different chemical agents are shown in like slideshows. You know how Fallout, when loading, does its usual slideshow panorama. That's your current dream as you're going through like the state of fluoride, the state of gold, the state of carbon. It comes to a point where you are lucid in this dreaming. So before we switch back over to Jace again, or Spencer, feel free to cap this off.
You know, truth, I wasn't expecting to continue reading on the alchemical composition of various gods. And that's where we'll leave off for him.
I like it. I like it. Spencer, you yourself find it strange. So the pizza, it doesn't taste as delicious after having that short heart to heart with Jace before leaving him alone. You were sitting there with the rest of the members of the base, enjoying the variety of pizza from a different store. The look of the guy who delivered the pizza is always a sight to see as they try to reconcile the fact that they delivered like Domino's or a Pizza Hut or whatever knockoff brand you feel like tossing out there because I'm not feeling comfortable or caring enough to give a knockoff brand to our knockoff Charles Entertainment.
I've got one. I've got one. How about
Take the
just
wheel.
something really just cheesy, like King Pizza or something?
I'd like to point out we've already stripped the signs from the place and we're getting ready to renovate it into a game store.
Welcome to
uh,
King. Here's your King Pizza, sir. An extra, extra large with anchovies. This looks like a pizza store.
uh, hey man, I got five. I got five extra kings for icy wiener. Yeah, such a classic. At wait,
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
this
a
a
classic. You know what? This is on me.
wasn't this a Chucky? Hey, oh, at least I got tipped this time.
Isn't this a Chucky? Well, at least I got a tip. Look at the tip. It's Monopoly money. Son of a.
Ah, damn it!
Spencer's just gonna like, thanks for the pizza. Hands him like $100 bill. Oh man,
Ah,
$100. Wait, this is Monopoly money.
they warned me about the cat man. I thought it was fake.
I thought it wasn't real.
Can I get your autograph?
Spencer's just gonna gonna think for a moment. He's gonna go, okay, and then he's going to kind of just grab a pen and just. Does he have like a book he wants me to write it on, or?
No, he asked you to write it on the $100 bill.
Okay, Spencer on the $100 bill is going to write Catman in the coolest like '90s like retro font he can.
That edgy like cat scratch style, which would be in character for you. Just that hard C, that like sticky A, the T's.
The
Can't remember.
Catman. The Catman doesn't understand what. They're kidding.
Coming
No,
to a super center near you. Catman, Catman, Catman.
cat. Anyways, Spencer's gonna bring in the pizzas and he's gonna go, pizza, and then open up one of the boxes and he's gonna look like he's about to take a bite and he just looks at it. He's like, it just isn't the same without more company. And then, like, a hand comes out of his back and he's like, good thing I've got tons of it. And like 7 or 8 more copies of himself slowly pop out of his back and crawl out from under his shirt, each one wearing a number from 1 to 8, as they
Let
all proceed to just each take a slice and just lounge about.
Here's Daniel comes over. All right, Spencer, how about you share those pizza? Oh my god! Why are there so many of you?
Spencer and Spencer and Spencer and Spencer and Spencer and Spencer and Spencer are gonna look over and just go in unison. Why do you look so down, Daniel?
Grinjet! We're cat people! What?
I just
What?
love that each one has their own particular way of eating the pizza. One of them rolls it up like New York style, just like folds it in half and takes bites out of it. Another person's going for the chomp and the bite and pulling on the cheese. Next person's just eating it with a fork and knife, but not realizing which is the fork and which is the knife.
The fifth Spencer has got to be the Chicago one, just complaining. This is too flat, man. There's barely enough. It's barely holding any of the toppings. If it was the other way, it'd be perfect.
And then like Spencer number 6 is going, "What you talking about? It's good pizza."
It's as flat as cardboard. That king don't even know what he's talking about. He calls himself the king.
I just infinitely love that Spencer Prime is just sitting there going, "So good to have the family together."
Hey, bro, you can eat that crust? Just one paw reaches over and tries to take your crust before you finish the pizza.
Spencer's gonna look at the crust and then give it to him. Ah, sure thing, Mikey.
Thank you, but they call me number 12 these days. By the way, did you want this anchovy?
Sure. Trade ya. As he hands him another crust.
Ironically, 12 is allergic to anchovies. Both 13 and 14 are outright competing with you for anchovy supremacy.
Oh, I just love it. It's perfect. I can only make 8 of them, by the way, right now.
Great, we've jumped 1, 2, 3, 6, 9.
I just love their disjointed numbers, and there's just the random 43.
I do believe we're at 15 Spencers now. Because the 7 from the wedding still haven't disappeared.
This is true. They're most likely just filing in, just like knock at the door. Okay, that must be the other pizza guy. Thank goodness we got more. Oh my god! And
Like 6 more Spencers come in. We just got done helping over at the Diamond Dust. They needed more repairs. We got to put mortar on. One Spencer, I need to use the bathroom. And just like covered head to toe in mortar.
just like arms out, looks like that really sad cat covered in milk with his face just all disgusting covered in it. Oh, it's perfect. It's a perfect scene. Meanwhile, Spencer Prime is just sitting there on a throne of pizza boxes. Well, you perfected your sciences. I built my kingdom.
Bridget comes out. Whoa, whoa, okay, whoa. Whoa. We do not have that many. Spencer, pull it together.
Okay, and Spencer's just gonna like take the pizza boxes and rearrange them to make it like one long pizza box chain, like this, right?
There's golf claps from each of the Spencers. See, this
Like,
is why he's prime. This is awesome. I
good
knew he
boys,
would keep
right.
doing.
Well done. Just brilliant job. Brilliant. Another great solution.
Francie like palms his face, pulls it down. I met yourself. You have like
Oh,
yeah,
I can
it's
pull
just a
myself
collective.
together,
Oh,
but then we wouldn't have nearly enough fun.
hey, fine. If you can't pull yourself together, go outside.
And then all of them in unison. Okay.
Daniel coming around. Wait, no! As you just
No, we
already
can't
start
come
heading
out in the city.
outside.
Just, I love the idea that at the end of this episode or interlude, it's just breaking news: 57 catmen caught, 57 yet to be found. But what does that mean? Did they catch all the Spencers and then they just left?
They had them, then they lost them, then they had them again, and found that there was more duplicates on the way. But now, as you go out, Spencer Prime, with your 17 other duplicates, the song of freaking Elephants on Parade is playing somewhere in the background.
Absolutely, and Spencer and the 17 other duplicates of himself are all just in unison because they share the same singular brain cell.
There's a
They are
moment where
headed.
as you're splitting, somewhat like mobbing down the street, somewhat like widening your stance, uh helping so often like walk a lady across the street, grabbing a couple of other pets from like precarious areas like inside a gutter or out of a tree. There's a one moment where there was one unlucky purse snatcher who tries to snatch his purse and comes across 17 catmen.
17 Catmen. I just love the idea that all of them just each hand like boom, 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 boom.
So they all raise a paw. Wait, and just collectively, just one pat from each. But it feels like a barrage for this man. It
Just
ends up being
infinitely love. Just like you're helping that nice old lady find her purse. Yay! And they all start throwing them like 50 feet straight in the air. Oh, I'm sorry.
oh, he dropped the purse. Here you go, ma'am. Well, thank you. Yep, keep showing that young man some good grace. What an asshole.
just just love that the like 10 minutes of this and then the man just on the street corner like throwing up onto the street and Spencer's patting his back. Don't worry, everyone gets overexcited.
All of them collectively agree, and then there's just this solid stomach growl. You know you just had pizza, but damn, you feel hungry again.
Man, I really do feel hungry. Spencer Prime, who has done almost everything the other Spencers have been doing, stands up and goes, "Everyone, I have an idea." And there's just like this little neon sign that appears above his head comically that says "idea," and it flickers in and out before falling and crashing to the ground. Hey, what was
I
that?
my sign. How am I supposed to get idealistic comics up and running if my sign keeps breaking? You know how hard it is to try to run a comic shop here in the industrial sector. Damn
Cyrus's credit card is maxed out in one go.
it!
17,000 orders for lasagna.
All right, Spencer, we have to talk about your purchase habits with my car. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 14.
He stops counting. Is like, I'm gonna need some more beer.
Honey, I think we need to set up adoption.
I just infinitely love that the entire day, Spencer and all of his other 15 comrades just, I have an idea, idealistic comics bit, and then Spencer starts marching them towards the pizza shop. It's like, hey, look, it's my best customer, Spencer. Why are there... Oh, no. Oh, no. Maria, I told you this day was coming.
Call the taco place. Tell them they can have it. We agree. We just can't keep this much. They multiply. Tell them the Spencers are multiplying.
Save themselves. There's like the door opens, like 17 people come in, everyone at the counters like there's like dead stop, all of them holding pizza in the middle of eating, just like freeze up, and then Spencer Prime slaps down the collectible allowance of only one Spencer, which is possibly just about 20 or 30 bucks. And he's like, how much can I get with this?
For yourself or for your friends? Cause is there a
Oh man.
is there a convention going on for cat enthusiasts? Because this is a lot of mascots.
No, that's just me and me. Hold on, I have to come up with names. No, that's Mikey, and over there is Donna. That one over there is Steve, and he doesn't like to talk to anybody. He's a bit of a loner. That over there is Miguel, and oh, that guy's my favorite. That's David. He's always a really cool dude. Just every single one of them has a completely unique name, and it's just like, how do you keep track of all of them? Keep track of who? Right.
Right. Go ahead, take a seat right there. We'll figure something out. This is Lady
Just
Cinder, right?
Spencer, and Spencer's gonna be like looking in his pocket, and he's gonna pull out another $20 bill because he got allowance. It,
You know, it hurts me to make this comment here, but it feels like with you copying yourself, it also feels like your doppelgangers will also copy with the same amount of stuff in your pocket. So you put out a $20 bill. So does Dave. So does Steve. So does Marla. So does Donna.
so does Miguel. So does me. So does Mikey. And they're
It's
just like,
interesting.
sir, they have money. They have money. Mamma mia, my business is saved.
That's great. Why do all of these dollar bills look almost the same? They almost have the same number. You're thinking of Luigi. Put the number inside the bag and let's get
You're
cooking.
thinking too much, Luigi. Get them the pizza. just, just like I love freeze frame. And they never saw that money again.
Lordy.
We've had enough comedic relief for this exact moment, I believe. Unless you need more comedic relief, just breaking news. A helpful flurry breaks out in downtown Pyrogold this evening.
That's right. We can switch over to Jace again. Oh shit.
The pizza place closed down to counterfeit fucking money.
Mario, I fucking told you! I told you we should be careful!
I would like to say the thing there is, if it was a perfect copy, then it would technically be and not be counterfeiting. Because if the bank tried to check those bills, they would have the same chemical composition as the real bills.
Yes, but they would have the same serial numbers as well.
They would be
Which
suffering.
I think these are the most competent counterfeits ever, or the mint got lazy.
My god. Either we're dealing with super geniuses, or we have the worst day in federal history. Check the plates. Which plates are all of them?
Coincidentally, all of the plates are the same number. It's a different number from the one on the bills. There is more confusion.
There is more confusion. Breaking news: stock markets crumble and mints go dark.
What's the profit of $1? Not much these days, despite the economic boom for minerals and gems.
I just
You see,
love
well, back
Cyrus.
to the gold standard after the dark age of currency. What started the dark age of currency? You see, it started with a pizza joint in this little town called Iredell.
Just even more funny to me is like Cyrus is like, now listen, I'm just gonna address this family directly. You all mock me for buying golden rings and necklaces, but who's laughing now?
That said, DM, would it be safe to assume that Edward's family and Wilda's family likely have like their own individual phones,
Landlines, yes.
but not all of them have like little old school typey phones like most of the crew does.
I
You have
mean,
to
I
har-
think Cyrus's family would actually have Blackberries.
Transient's family would probably have the old-fashioned flip phones.
But yes, the
I think
the
they'd be
families would,
That's what matters.
at the very least, Wilda's mother has a pager.
Okay. Then I imagine Jace would likely send a message to Marla Thrussell and then Heinrich and Kisaragi Follinger. It would be addressed from him, obviously, but he would be asking for an opportunity, or when would be a good opportunity to meet up with them to discuss. I imagine he's not just going to come out and call it the slag, since it could be monitored lines, because it is public stuff. But he would use the phrase specifically, the common problem. And I imagine he would do one of those little text tricks to show like a double helix. You know, like the ones where they use like slashes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it just like in the next line, it finishes the double helix by finishing the slashes, but opposite.
Yes.
From the Thrustles, you would get a physical call from Marla, who says, "Sounds good. 2 days from now, we should be free. Although, I believe our son may be either preparing to reinstate or go on a peace. What was it? A Peace Corps thing. Cyrus. He's still drunk. Never mind. We'll reach back to you here shortly. But yeah, try 2 days from now, which is obviously going to be before the next trip.
Fair enough. And what about the other family?
The Follingers, who take a moment to give you two respective texts. First one saying, the first one asks if this is Jace, and the second one asks, "Who this?"
Jace confirms it is Jace both times. They should know who Jace is because I've been staying with them.
You get a K from Heinrich, and then you get a long-winded explanation about we will have enough time on Friday, 3 days. So 2 days for the Thrustles. The Follingers will be the day after for your discussion,
All right. So
as
I guess the
well
first.
as
Go
well
ahead.
as proper time and place to meet at, which is not. They specified not to show up at the Follinger house, rather to head over to, of all places, the mine.
Oh, fun. That'll be interesting. All right.
At the very least, definitely one of the buildings at the mine. But there is, but the you cannot misconstrue that line of address because it. You know how most places have like 1900 Cougar Lane for like your high
I'm
school.
sure mine has its own fucking zip code. To be perfectly honest with you, DM.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, he knows it's going to be at the mine. So I guess the first one then would be talking to Cyrus and Marla.
Yes.
Okay.
Mostly Marla. Has
Right.
2 days, and you'll barely get a moment. You'll have maybe an hour with Cyrus, as he looks like he's getting ready to go back to work.
That's fair. Marla was the one he mainly needed to talk to because Marla's the geneticist. And when Jace arrives for that meeting, he has got his own little briefcase, which once he is safely inside wherever the meeting place is to talk with them, he will open to reveal a small control module he's been working on, as well as the infamous belt. And also in that briefcase is a lot of notes that he has been working on clearly over the past few days. And he will look to Marla and to Cyrus and ask, to start this off, how much do both of you know about the slag?
The what? Plenty enough. We'll say it's definitely perturbing to see metal move as such, much less be so infinitesimal. But I take it you have more experience.
Yes. He will take out the belt and set it down. This is the device I originally created to try and move the slag around, at least to repurpose it for a different means, as it were. And originally that was done in a admittedly somewhat vain attempt to see if I could fix my legs. And while it is temporary, that does work. But what I also learned is that when using this, it brings the slag to the surface of the skin and creates those sort of armored forms we all seem to have when we use it. And with that in mind, that led me to the realization that innately, if I understood correctly, the slag could not just be drawn away from the DNA, but could be moved around. And while normally when using the belt, the slag just goes right back onto the DNA when the belt is removed, I realized that if I used the mechanics of the belt in a different way, it might be theoretically possible to alter the way the slag is affecting someone's DNA without entirely removing it. But I don't have the genetic knowledge to make that work. And he looks to Marla.
Huh. She picks up some of the notes and does make a an impressed look upon her face as she catches up with some of the technological descriptions that you have, along with some of the recent studies and experiences of watching the slag be emitted out. Subsonic frequency following a tune. Magnetic repulsions followed by electrical currents. Interesting. And so you've been using this method in order to manipulate the slag. Sort of like
Yes,
a music-based magnet.
to an extent, yes. I've been able to, as I mentioned, get the slag to surface whenever someone's affected by it wears the belt. And that brings about a change in how their powers operate and creates the armored form. However, I haven't been able to previously control how that happens. Just you put the belt on, it activates, and then the slag on its own would constitute what powers you have at that venture. What I have realized now, having a lot more time than I did previously to focus on this problem and having a lot more motivation to do so, considering quite a few of my friends, honestly, have been deteriorating quite rapidly lately. I've realized that there may be a possibility that I could use, well, for lack of a better term, nanotechnology combined with this existing technology I'm already using to directly alter the way the slag affects the DNA. In the case of Wilda, obviously, this would be seeing if there was a way to alter the DNA so that she isn't becoming water, maybe something else, maybe not becoming anything at all and having an entirely different power set, but something other than what is currently happening.
As you bring up that point, Marla takes a very takes a very heavy tone. I say tone. Uh, she leans closer to you and looks you in the eye as you make mention about changing Wilda's current state, current power, and current fate. So you're telling me if you have more understanding of the genetic makeup, you might be able to find a way to cure Wilda?
I'm not sure if it would cure her in the sense that she wouldn't have powers, but it is theoretically possible using this method to change the way the slag has affected her. She wouldn't be water anymore. I'm not sure what she would be. That would require research the likes of which would take possibly decades. But given the short time frame, a glimmer of hope is better than no glimmer of hope, especially when it's not just her who's potentially on the line here. There's also well, outside of the incident where Wilda was given issues because the belt shocked her, I've installed safety features since then. I have realized that the belt, when it manipulates the slag, can function as sort of a reset timer for negative effects caused by the slag. And he will hand Marla the notes he has on what he's witnessed with Dahlia's condition and how her deterioration seemed to reset after using the belt, as if it regenerated her and then she started decaying again from that point, although he's left Dahlia's name directly out of it. He's just got a number or a subject name in there to keep it private for her sake.
Subject 187 seems to suffer horrible necrosis. Ugh. Upon use of the belts, vitalization of cells. Cells cells resume cease function upon connection. Oh goodness. Sorry, just getting an emergency call over here. Not emergency, but like Amber alerts.
Amber Alert.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Hey,
mine
give
just
all over.
started.
And so it begins. Now we hope that you find that person as soon as possible. But returning back, she inspects the notes, becoming deeply enthralled and almost losing herself, forgetting that you're sitting there for a few moments as she reaches down, pulls out the famed 48-ounce mug, and sipping her bourbon wine once more. Burgundy wine once more. Waving goodbye to Cyrus as he makes his motion to go continue on with the day. Cyrus stops at the door, looks back at you, double checking to make sure Wilda isn't in the building at the moment, which will say that she either is visiting Edward or going out with Des to go do a little bit of shopping, whatever Puddle is more comfortable with.
Wilda was gonna be in the house in her room, like she normally is.
Then you are barely hearing any of the discussions when Jace does stop by.
Mhm.
I'm sure you are aware of the topic of the discussion, given uh, your talk with your mom, and the fact that more than likely Jay sent you a heads up, like, "Hey, I'm gonna chat with your parents. I hope that's okay." Right, Jace?
He would have.
Yeah, no,
So,
she's just gonna stay in her room.
but
I should mention I
even
have ultra hearing now.
I was about to say, but even despite being in your room with the door closed, you can
Mhm.
still hear a majority of what exactly they're saying, including the possibilities of curing you.
There's a slight, like, thumping on the ground. It's a tail wag.
If you can leave me the notes here and maybe at least the schematics of how your operating system works.
Of course. I actually made these notes as a copy explicitly to give to you. And I will admit that you are not the only person I wanted to reach out to on this front. I was actually going to reach out to the Follingers, although I have little to no understanding of their particular specialty. I do know that Dr. Himmel was using it to effectively create a similar effect with your son Des as well as his comrades. And I believe if we use that in a way that is far less unsanitary and unscrupulous, it may also be of help.
He pauses a bit, hearing how Himmel has been using Des as part of the subject testing, which does sour her mood a dash. I know Des said Des has told me that he was in a secret military thing. He never specified that it was being done in such a way.
Jace will temporarily use his powers to shut off all forms of potential listening devices in the house, and he will just straight up lay cards on the table with her about everything Himmel was doing.
So you go on to reveal that Himmel was using toys to slowly indoctrinate children into the patriotic way of life, to have more children more gung ho to sign up for military work training.
That definitely comes up, but the thing he points out is the use of a mixture of microchips and alchemical signs to manipulate people like Des, Daniel, and Stringent to adjust their biology and their mental states to better serve the U.S. military.
She pauses in that and looks at you. Are you suggesting he was trying to make alchemical super soldiers?
I believe he already had what he wanted in the form of super soldiers. Maybe he needed to do some genetic tinkering that he wasn't quite happy with. Maybe the alchemy was there for other reasons. But I suspect the primary use of the microchips and the alchemical signs was to ensure that both on a scientific level and a magical level, no one could disobey.
That is curious and honestly kind of terrifying. As more as more and more days pass, I'm growing more grateful that y'all were able to pull him out of there. Sometimes I forget where I stand as a mother and as a biochemist. Not really much you can do when family go giving themselves to military. So
Yeah, well, let it be known that not everyone who was there was given up or chose to be there.
that breaks my heart even more.
Wilda would come down at this point and hand Jace the paperwork that Marla had given her 2 nights before.
Oh,
What
hello.
paperwork specifically?
What she's handing you is honestly half a decade's worth of research. Now I've been doing my own personal studies of how. Well, I mean, if one cat is out of the bag, might as well let loose the other. If you were just hoping that this would just be one-off things, that the slag was just is the only reason why children are getting superpowers or even powers at all. Unfortunately, that's only the newest development. My line of work, I've been investigating metas and how they've been coming about. In truth, I'm something of a meta myself. Just don't like talking about it.
Well, that will all of this, honestly, will probably be helpful for the project in question, but my main focus right now is to find out how to specifically manipulate the slag. Because if I can figure out how to manipulate the slag, there's a good chance that I can take care of most of the current biological and not necessarily mental or psychological issues, but the biochemical issues associated with the slag in question.
Jace, you now notice that Wilda has ears and a tail.
Is that also slag, or is that something from all of the stuff I missed because I was busy fighting the hog?
Honestly, I was asking the same thing myself. She says a connection to a god, a Hati, right?
Yeah,
Oh.
Hottie.
Fun. More of the mystical stuff. Yeah, despite the supposed connection I have to it, I'm afraid I'm not going to be much help on that front. But if I figure out how to work this nanotechnology properly, I should be able to help with at least the water issues.
Well, thank you. I'll do what I can to help you with the genetic sequencing, double checking what we can and what we can do. Feel free to stop by if you have any questions.
I will.
I hope you don't mind me stopping by the Thrustles, stopping by the Follingers to ask questions as well. You are still staying over there, right?
Yes. However, I feel like this might be more helpful, and he will hand her what looks like a pass card, like you would use to get through security checkpoints, and he will look over to Wilda for a moment and ask, "Would you be so kind as to show her the way?"
Yeah, I can show her the way.
And
Okay, but I'm gonna have to sober up first. Give me about 15 minutes.
he
16.
will also
As she grabs a
give
drink
her-
and
Okay, but
sorry.
go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead. I was just making a joke there.
He was also gonna. I was also gonna mention that in the back part of the notes he's been taking, he has a section talking about a primary subject and how early tests with the nanotechnology have been slowed down because when subjecting the primary subject to the nanotechnology, they have been experiencing blackouts and unable to document what's been ongoing.
What's going on with this subject here? 001?
I wish I could tell you, but every time I try to test it, I black out.
You blackout?
You experimented on yourself?
At least I can be humane to myself. I can guarantee that much, which is more than I can guarantee for just about anyone else or anyone else conducting experiments on me. I wish I knew what's been going on, but apparently it's been helpful because, at the very least, I've noticed that some of my inventions and my research development has improved whenever I wake up from blacking out. All the notes I find are in my own handwriting. All of the work is clearly my own. I just can't remember doing it.
Is it random when you black out?
Or do you feel a trigger?
I haven't figured that out quite yet. Usually, whenever I specifically try to test the nanobots, it's like a light switch gets turned off. I'll start the test, and before I can see the effects, I black out, and then I wake up later.
Are the notes already written?
The notes are already written whenever I come back to. And most of the invention work, where it's actually physically making the devices, is also done when I come to. I've taken notes on all the things that have been built, But the only thing I can assume is that there may be some chance that I succeeded in my original vain goal for all of this manipulation in the first place, even if I'm just blacking out for it, because there's a lot of technology that I've created during these blackouts, which seems to be designed for someone who isn't wheelchair bound.
Let's see.
I can still heal that.
Mention of a glider. Mentions of. Oh, that's old Jace.
Cybernetic.
Sorry, I was looking at old Jace. There we go.
Mentions of a glider, cybernetics, sonic-based weaponry for close quarters combat. It's very intensive and very interesting. It's all fascinating research, but it's not stuff I would normally dedicate my time to. After all, I've been trying to work on the nanotechnology, but whenever I black out, progress continues.
Well,
You want
tell
me to
you
try
what.
and see what's happening?
I would appreciate that, but not now. Right now, priority is nanotechnology research, and now that someone else will have access to the laboratory facilities, which I also plan to give to the Follingers, you guys will be able to work with all the military grade stuff I've been whipping up with Edward's help.
Well, having one, you won't need to use it, but it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Oh, I'm not talking about like military grade weapons or anything. I mean like laboratory equipment. We've got state of the art stuff down there.
My statement still stands. Though that being said, what I can ask is she pulls out a separate sheet of notes from a drawer by nightstand close by the stair set area. If you can gather up these items when you're recreating when you're trying to make up that lab system, I've been finding myself unable to get a hold of those without the prior standings, given my defunct credit nature. So it's been hard working off of outdated equipment. Might help us proceed further if we are able to make a breakthrough in this.
None of these should prove to be problematic to come across. Either we'll find a way to source it or we'll find a way to make it ourselves. I'm very good at programming and building things, and if we need materials, Edward's the man.
I do hope so. That the third one on the list is a particularly tough model. Definitely sensitive material there. I think we're talking like like an upgrade version of the centrifuge, the thing that spins the chemicals.
I'm very aware. I've worked on a few chemical concoctions myself, but I think it would be safe to say that I am one of the best bets of recreating or making such a thing if need be. Wilda, would you mind helping me for a second so I can get out of the chair and show them the special thing it does?
Okay. I'll basically
And,
bridal carry.
once Jace is out of the chair, he will clap his hands and have Rockin' Prime transform as a demonstration of his technological abilities.
I mean, well, a wheelchair's actually pretty impressive. Just come by! King Prime! The hell is that?
That is the guardian I made for myself while I was still trapped in Himmel's care. He calls himself Rockin' Prime. His AI is a little bit screwy, but he is fully capable of simultaneously transforming from that form to wheelchair and back. He's got hover technology. He's got the ability to manipulate photon particles to weaponize them, among a wide variety of things. Most of the stuff he can do, most people would call sci-fi.
Miss, did you know that having alcohol blood content of over 0.8 can be considered terrible and illegal to be driving or operating?
That's
operating. That's the what?
His AI quirk is he likes to give PSAs like out of 80s and 90s stuff. I don't know how he got access to it. I don't know how it got into his programming. And no matter how many times I try to write it out, it just keeps coming back. But yes, we are quite capable of building or sourcing what you need.
Remember, miss, controlling alcohol means a controlled person. That means a party can be had by everyone. The knowledge is yours.
Thank you, Rockin' Prime. You can revert to wheelchair form now.
Remember that the technology is. There's a splash as he gets splashed in the face with alcohol. Ah, my scissors! Reverts back to wheelchair mode. It still burns! I don't even register the sensation of burning. But what's that?
Sorry, my
Quirky.
mom kind of just drinks paint thinner.
He'll be all right.
Quirky machine, though. Have them in. Nothing takes Everlast in the face and continues persisting. Coherently, at least. Proceeds to drink the Everlast.
But yes, that card that I gave you, as well as all that research notes, they'll be able to help you get down to the lab, and hopefully, with all of your own equipment and all of the equipment we've made down there, and all of this equipment I will start working on for you, we should be able to make some serious progress. And if I can get the Follingers to agree, we will be able to make even more progress on this front.
I will put Jace back in his wheelchair.
He will nod to you appreciatively.
All right. Will it take me over to your guys' hideout? Probably on the next weekend we have. Hopefully, it won't be too long.
He will nod and then offer a hand to shake hands on all this.
Marla takes your hand, gives a gingerly handshake. You do feel something else as you're shaking her hands. You do feel a wet, cloud-like touch go along and up your arm as you shake it, as though a second hand made of mist was grabbing too, just to be sure.
Very well, but he will shake the hand and say, thank you for all the help you've already given and will hopefully continue to give for this project, Dr. Thrussell. I look forward to working with you.
Please, it's just Marla these days. But I thank you. Thank you for helping widen the glint of hope that we were having.
He will nod, and I believe that leaves one more conversation Jace needs to have about this nanotechnology before I need to go to bed, because I need to wake up early tomorrow.
Right. As we pan over to the next day, transient, you're there sitting next to your ma and your pa, who have informed you that your friend Jace wanted to have a private conversation with them. Your choice whether you want to sit there with them or not.
Yeah, I'll sit down with them.
And when Jace comes in for the conversation, he will open the door immediately by asking how much they know about the slag.
There's a couple of sputtering as a couple of them were, as they both were having a drink at the time. Before the father goes, slag? What slag? It's all been, it's all run off. We've been able to like fully purify the water. It's safe to drink.
As far as we can tell, it's the offshoot of some of the Philosopher's Stone mixing into the water.
Then your help will absolutely be invaluable, and I will hand the Follingers, including Transient, a copy of all of my extensive research notes. I made a copy for Marla, this is a copy for them. My hope is that based off my current research, it may be possible to use a mixture of biochemical and genetic knowledge, as well as nanotechnology and alchemy, to be able to make slight alterations to the slag on the level where it bonds with human DNA. I've already found, using my belt prototype, which you will present to them, that using technology alone, I can, without having full control, make the slag act in certain ways. I can't control how it acts, at least not now, but it does express itself differently when provided with various forms of stimuli. And based off what was achieved, unfortunately, by Dr. Himmel, I believe that the use of alchemy in combination with technology may be the best approach for finding ways to treat those afflicted by the slag.
This is actually very well researched. Good information here. Wait, so it actually uses sonic resonation? Huh.
Jace is more than happy to provide a technical breakdown of how the belt functions and all of the mechanisms involved. And if need be, he will provide a demonstration.
Oh, that almost
Go ahead.
As he's reading and as you offer the demonstration, Heinrich is about to go on a short tangent, starting off by saying it almost appears like they're organic in nature with how they move and respond to external stimuli. Almost like there is no way that the slag is alive. It is metal runoff. And even more so, you're telling me that you offered this data to Marla?
I need the genetic knowledge to be able to influence the slag on the genetic level. I've already found in my research, if you'll flip to page 44, that
There's
using
a serious change of paper.
If you only use the belt on the scientific level without me having had any genetic knowledge or any knowledge of alchemy, that I was able to achieve an effect where those who had been negatively affected by the slag on a genetic level while the belt was active saw an immediate and palpable recovery of both senses and stimuli that had been lost because of the slag. Well, once the belt was off, that regression and deterioration resumed. It is proof of concept that there is a way to keep the slag as part of the person, but still alleviate the symptoms and negative experiences they are experiencing. And well, Marla is the only person I am able to get in contact with without risk of them revealing everything, who is well versed enough in genetics to be able to help on that front. And she has a vested interest in this research, just like I do.
Kisaragi seems to be more jealous than angry. Once more, this plays into the fact that they used to be previous rivals in separate fields. Honestly, I'm seeing a lot of a lot of digital errors here. You're using subsequencing here when you should be using full sequencing. Wait,
It is what
this would cause an overcharge around the midsection leading down to the lake. Have you been shocking your legs through this whole process?
Originally, yes, it wasn't an issue for me, but when I realized it was having effects negatively on my teammates, I designed this little device, and he'll present her with the battery pack system he made, which actually draws in that charge and acts as a timer so that when the battery would be overwhelmed and the negative shock would start affecting the wearer, it actually causes the belt to automatically shut off.
The parents seem to be split on focus. The mother takes the battery pack and now seems to be considering the size and make of what you have, which, for the sake of features, it seems like the size of a closed flip phone for the battery pack that gets attached to the side of the belt.
Legitimately, DM, I always thought it was the size of one of those like pocket versions of the New Testament.
Pocket test. All right. Still works. Still about the same size. Just less flip uppy and more flip whitey.
Yeah. It looks like a compartment on the bat belt, basically. But
the mother is admiring the battery while the father is double checking the the plans that you have showing the motion of electrical currents going through the radial of the center of your belt. So that's where the transitioning. That's where it does the analyzing. But you said you didn't control how it analyzes. This is all part of the slag part. The slag decides that.
As far as I am aware, and he will hesitantly take the belt and provide the demonstration. You can decide if you do the spiel or not, DM. But basically, it's very clear he's crippled. They know he's crippled. But when he activates, and he would obviously show off the lightning power so they can see what his power set is. But when he puts on the belt and activates it, he's able to walk, and his power set seems to now be magnetism based rather than based on electricity.
As you put it on, the belts kick on. They're a bit shocked at seeing you having to draw blood, but but they both seem to understand that as part of the system, it requires a blood sample. Watching it go in, you see them start furiously taking notes as they document the usage of the belt as they watch the slag be extracted from your pores into several nodes that reform into the armor itself before colliding upon you into your second skin. With Olympic might through terabytes, a light that fights for truest right. Codename, the Idealist 2.
I also originally didn't build the belt with any sort of voice speaker system. That seems to have come about originally when Edward first used it, and I'm not sure of the mechanism how, but it doesn't seem to negatively impact the belt, so I have left it in for the time being.
Possibly is going up. So you didn't program any AI in this, just the software to do examinations and analyzing the samples for the slag.
Correct. I have only ever created 3 AI that I can speak of, and none of them were put into the belt. And he will gesture to his wheelchair, which is Rockin' Prime, who is now autonomous because he switched form. But there's also the central AI for the base and the assistant AI I made for our companion Spencer. Beyond those 3, I have not taken to the... Well, I'll take that back. There is one additional AI I've made, but he's very rudimentary, and he just serves as sort of a... He'll explain Agent Coulson, not Agent Coulson, Agent Smith, basically, the AI program that simulates a person driving the vehicle when Jace is just doing it with his mind.
Oh, sick. I love the Matrix. As Hydra gets elbowed by Kisaragi.
I also didn't program him to be Smith. I don't know why all my AI developed quirks.
Well, we can't tell. We couldn't tell you why they came up with quirks. It could just be a hidden subconscious thing of your own doing. If anything, it might have been an attempt to keep yourself entertained. I mean, being in a military facility like that, with how you were describing your time with Dr. Himmel, I can tell you, I probably would have gone crazy and tried to have a tea party with at least 2 of the computers there myself.
Unfortunately, I didn't have that option. I wasn't able to fully instill consciousness in Rockin' Prime until after the others helped me break out of my cell. That said, regarding Dr. Himmel, I believe some of his research into mixing alchemy and technology would help us, but the person here who knows the most about that particular front, and he will gesture to Edward.
Effectively.
Himmel. I've heard that name before, more than from what you guys were talking about.
Nazi scientist.
He was working on a research project alongside Albrecht Watts, although I do not know the exact details.
Ugh. Hmm.
I'll
Her
let
father...
you decide if they do pieces together and the mental math that leads to. Hang on a second. You ended up under Himmel's care, and Albrecht. Oh no.
Well, dealing with a Watt family can be a bit stretching, but they would have plenty of good money in order to back up any of his experimentation. When you were with your family, what, honey? Honey, Listen, if his family, mm-hmm, and his working with, mm-hmm, oh, focus on the study right there. So you were saying that this Himmel person, if he's
Yes, I don't. Go ahead.
if he's involved in alchemy, then more than likely we would have had some sightings of him, at least in our previous standings. Do we happen to have a first name on him?
Give me a second. I'm trying to remember because I feel like we did say one, but I don't know if we canonize that.
Honestly, I'm still remembering the fact that I called him Himmel Foucher or Floucher.
I think we eventually decided that Himmel was his last name. Let me a second.
Right, right.
Let me think. What was it? I think it was Klaus. I think it was Klaus Himmel.
Yes, Himmel.
We could call him Ernst Himmel if you'd prefer.
So long as we keep Himmel. Himmel is just that immediate anchor point for him. Mhm. I'm not seeing it written down in my current notes, so I'm having to do a full scour of it. So we will currently just keep it as Dr. Himmel at the moment, and we'll just feign that you haven't been able to get past get a first or last name truly.
I feel like it for Jace at the very least. It's just more of a situation where it's like I know his first name, but I don't care. I don't want to humanize this man. That said,
So
if it helps,
his
go ahead.
I was like, did he have a first name? Or was that his first name? Just
I'm
like his
fairly
dead.
certain Dr. Himmel is his last name. However, you'll need to double check with Transient, but I believe he was using the mixture of alchemy and technology to manipulate how all those elemental transformation individuals were both how they were transforming and what they were thinking. Do I have that right?
Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm losing concentration here on my end too. What was that again?
If I'm not mistaken, they were using the alchemical and technological chips that they had placed in all of the elemental transformers' heads to both manipulate how they transformed and manipulate their minds while they were transformed.
From what I remember on it, yeah, that's about right. We didn't exactly keep any of those things around. We kind of destroyed them.
I do believe. Didn't you write down in your journal all of the alchemical signs we saw?
All the ones we found in the lab. Give me a second, and I'm gonna try to remember the signs that I saw on the chips.
I think that would be a Didic memory bonus.
It is, and you don't need to make any rolls, as you do recall that the chips having various symbols of control and um, transference. You do recall the one time you were able to see a transmutation circle based on healing and reform, but that was over at one of the hospitals nearby. So so that could be considered a red herring for you at the moment. You do recall a permanency alchemical symbol being used at one point to prevent alchemy from being used to break down certain areas in the secret base, and you do recall um, alchemic symbols for uh, destruction, as though it was supposed to be like a last ditch effort, like a self destruct. When you were examining the tips on your off time.
Mm-hmm. And I'll explain this to them.
Hmm. The parents chew on this information for a few bits, for a couple of seconds, as you and Jace take a moment to look at each other to be sure about the information given. When your mother and father both give, almost at the same time, a very exacerbated sigh. This sounds like our teacher, doesn't it? Yeah. If he's not, if he isn't our teacher, then it's more than likely one of our fellow students. Do you all recall what he looked like?
If I recall correctly, he had short white hair, glasses, and I believe he had a mustache. I also believe Himmel had blue eyes. I think it was blue eyes. I think the idea with him was that when he was younger, he probably looked like the stereotypical Aryan superhuman the Nazis loved.
White hair, blue eyes.
Well, he would have had blonde hair when he was younger if he was the Aryan super soldier stereotype. But yeah, the blonde hair, blue eye in his youth, wears glasses now, has a mustache, short hair, has an exceptionally thick accent, is needlessly cruel for no reason, but never in a direct way, always in an indirect way. And Jace, as an example of this, will mention the fucking locking mechanism for his office.
The father can't help but laugh at the mention of a DDR system as a locking mechanism for you, while the mother just looks on in horror, like, how? What kind of bastard does that?
A bastard who
Obvious.
apparently wasn't incredibly intelligent because he didn't use alchemy to technopathy proof that one, so I just hacked it and went right in. So it may be another personality facet that he does some things impulsively out of cruelty, not necessarily supreme cruelty, but light cruelty, and doesn't think them all the way through.
We should be thankful for that quirk of his then. Otherwise, it might have been harder to have you free.
Perhaps, but that may be a bad thing. If I understand what little I do about alchemy correctly, doing things half measures is a bad idea.
Well, of course, they usually lead to improper flow of the conduit. Transmutation is probably only half power. The other half now surging outward, causing a backflow of energy, pretty much risking the life and limb of whoever's trying to transmutate. Why is there's a pause as he takes a deep breath? So to say if he has been misabusing alchemy in such a manner, um, there should be obvious signs, at least around the areas that he does it at. There would always be byproducts.
Out of curiosity, would horrible mutant creatures be a byproduct?
To be a possible goal.
How about massive chunks disappearing from buildings in perfect concentric circles?
Possible side effect, unless that was the goal. No, a lot of the side effects that you would see would be occurring into the land itself. We're talking glass shards and crystal formations where there shouldn't be, or where it's quite obvious there hasn't been enough time for the crystals to be forming. We're talking.
Or stones that shouldn't exist, resurrecting children in increasingly odd ways, or providing superpowers to those that shouldn't have any.
Wait, once more, the slag is not confirmed. for causing all of this.
I have like 47 at least pages of research notes that show that slag is directly connected to several of our powers. I don't know if it's related to your alchemy necessarily, but from what you just told me and what Transient's implying, it sounds like it could be related, but I don't know if this is a chicken and the egg scenario where the slag came first and Himmel followed, or if Himmel started and then the slag happened.
It's there are multiple possibilities. If you happen to see redstones, or if you happen to hear children coming back from the dead, then there is a possibility that there could be that could be a sign of a side effect or a runoff from possible experiments being done to make these alchemical super beasts or creatures or whatever he's working on.
You mean
Direct.
like from a company that is owned 25% by the partner of the guy that directly experimented on Jace?
Well, that certainly, but more directly in line with what you stated, I will direct them to the notes on 187, which is Dahlia.
Oh yes, a child
Good.
coming back from the dead in an unusual way.
And it's definitely directly connected to the slag because, as mentioned in the notes there on 187, when the slag is removed via the belt, they are able to quickly and rapidly regenerate to a healthy condition.
You really there's like a very furious look on Heinrich as he's trying to explain that there would be a different notion for alchemic uh runoff or excess of alchemic waste. And here you are giving him alchemic waste in a different scenario, going, but we have it here. And it's like this is while it may be the same type of chemical spilling, it is not the chemical we are looking for. You are pointing out you are pointing out hydrogen chloride. We are looking for hydrogen dioxide. And it's just they're similar, but from
Jace
two
will
different
look to
sources.
Jace will look to Kisaragi and see what her opinion on this is, since she seems to be more rational about this.
You'll have to forgive him. He's more invested in our company that we work with, and while I
No,
do
I
see the
understand. That's why I'm. Go ahead.
And while I do see the similarities and understand that there is a high possibility he could still be working in town, God help us. It does get a bit hard to tell if the slag that
Oh,
we that we access,
He
that
only
gets.
had an abandoned lab on the
hang
hidden base
on.
just on the outskirts of town.
Hang on, wait a second. Before I have Rock and Prime show this, are either of you particularly squeamish?
Double check. Heinrich gives like a little eh. Kisaragi looks over at you. I just gave. Listen, I gave birth to my son here. I witnessed him die and come back. I have held him in my arms multiple times, bleeding out of multiple orifices on more accounts than I'd like to have, much less have to explain to anybody else.
Right then. I believe this may help in understanding what Himmel's up to. And I will show them the videotape that Stringent was able to get his hands on, showing the animal beast morphing transformation experiments.
And once that's shown, there's an immediate switch of personalities as Kisaragi, who was there looking hard, looking tough, looking like she has seen quite a bit, is so distraught at the screams and transformation that she grabs the pail and immediately loses her lunch. While the father, who seems to have been constantly in somewhat denial, trying to vein for his company, trying to like push off the idea that such a thing would be his company's involvement, goes, ah, shit. No, those happen to be our vats. It's not the same color, nor are they in the same building. It's Himmel's. Ooh, yeah,
You mean
and
like a hidden lab in the middle of a mining facility?
mm, mm, It could be possible.
Paid for by a multi-billionaire who owns a quarter
What?
of the company.
Son,
I
you're
don't know.
asking if I know everyone who owns the company. I don't. I'm just the one who tries to get them to buy our
Yeah, it was
patents.
only Zeus.
I feel like we're getting a little off track at this point, however. The point of showing all of this was to help get an idea on how we might be able to use alchemy for better ends than clearly what it has been used for so far. Specifically, trying to treat both Subject 187 and we're gonna say 172 is the code name he gave for Wilda in this to preserve her privacy.
Subject
He,
187.
Transient will look at his parents. Yeah, we should be able to help with that. If for nothing else, then the transference and the transition of genetics and making sure that they're stabilized. Alchemy can at least do that much.
Definitely. We'll continue looking at the video and try to see if we can't use it as reference to find where this possible base may be. We can also pass you some starting transmutation symbols to work with in your programming while we're trying to figure out what will be the best symbols to work with on this if we're allowed to. As he gestures towards your slag notes, if we're able to keep some of these in order to use
Of
as
course,
reference.
I specifically made this copy for all of you to keep, but additionally, I also made these for both of you, and he will hand each of them one of the passkey cards.
Oh, to the base?
Mm-hmm. I believe your lab down there, while I don't understand how it works, may be better for expansion of this kind of research than somewhere on the surface where it might be more noticed.
If you want a basic explanation as to how it works, think of the alchemy circles as a series of circuitry transistors.
I suppose that makes some degree of sense, but if I try to get into the exact details of the mystical part of things, I will start to lose the plot, and I would rather not do that right now. Point
Yeah.
being, we have a very robust facility that we have kept maintained secret, and, well, it's very well furnished if you need a place to study this discreetly without bringing it into your own personal labs that may influence your company work.
The two look at each other for a second as you're handing the card. Heinrich a bit apprehensive, but the look that Kisaragi gives before she makes a quick glance over to Edward and back to Heinrich is all that she needs to make Heinrich turn back and go, okay, yeah, we'll do what we can. We'll research, and whenever we have a chance, we'll head over here. You guys got a map for this? Address?
You should be able to get there through my lab.
Hang on. Let me, since this is the place where he's currently staying, he will, obviously belts off at this point. He's back in his wheelchair. He will head over to, the garage, and at the garage, making sure there's no vehicles or anything in the way, he will swipe his own key card. Well, he doesn't need a key card. He's got technopathy. He'll activate the keypad on his own, and a section will rise up out of the floor. It started out as just like a ladder going down, but he's modified it to function basically as an elevator to go down. So it rises up out of the concrete of the floor, and there is just a secret elevator there.
How come when I wanted to install a secret underground base, we weren't allowed because of regulation? But he gets to put in an emergency runway towards his base, and we don't argue about that, huh? Kisaragi puts her hands in her, puts her face in her hands as she seems to be a bit between upset, bemused, and regret. As Heinrich seems more excited, angry, and curious as to why you can install an elevator without them knowing, but he can't put down just a basement.
I feel like Jason. Go ahead.
Yeah, Edward, you yourself have heard them plenty of times go on an argument tangent about this basement possibility, and always it gets shot down because can't afford the permits.
Well, the fun thing about having access, even if it's discreetly, to the Watts family name is that the permits, you can make them happen. But more than anything, I found a way to circumvent the need because a lot of the original structure was already there and abandoned. And as they take the elevator down, I imagine there's the requisite question of what do you mean abandoned? Sudden giant subway system available.
And this is why we couldn't afford the permits, Dad.
They tried to start a subway system down here a couple decades ago, but it was too costly and they abandoned the project. Everything got boarded up, locked down, sealed over, but the infrastructure was still here, and that served as the foundation for building the base. Speaking
Thanks.
of,
So we
clean white
refurbished it.
base interior.
So we refurbished it, alchemized it, and made sure everything was structurally sound. Took us what, 5 days to do this?
Yeah, and even with a mix of technology and alchemy, we managed to make it so that if the base is damaged, it'll automatically restore itself given a few hours.
Yeah.
If it weren't for the fact that alchemy isn't exactly tax creditable yet, this would be a revelation. This would be a beautiful turn. Except we can never tell anybody about this, can we?
That's why it's a
Nope.
secret base.
Probably for the best you don't, but if you ever want to start your own laboratory and would like to have some of the tech that's going on here, I'm more than happy to help. You guys have honestly done more for me at this point than just about anybody I know.
Well, thank you, Jace. Thank you for trusting us this much. We will do what we can, no matter who's involved, to try to figure what we can do about adding alchemy to your system. And possibly where this Himmel person might be. And who knows, maybe something else about the slag. It doesn't exist. It's not real. It's not causing any of these problems. I'm not hearing this. La 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 la.
It is,
Give,
you are, and you're gonna have to get over it eventually, Dad.
give him
Let's
time,
refer
honey.
to it as Chemical Agent 1 for now, if that makes you more comfortable.
It, it it really doesn't, but I'm more willing to talk about Chemical One than the runoff. So wow, this is actually a pretty fine facility. Pretty nice.
And if you have any questions or need help shifting or adjusting anything to help expand or work on Transient's lab, you'll clap his hands and bring on the central base AI. All the technological functions that are able to do things like adjust the distance between the walls and prepare things or adjust the structure, all of it through this one. And I imagine that the name of this AI, all things considered, even if it wasn't something Jace knew about at the time, would probably be Perseus.
And it has Gladys's voice.
I don't know if it would have Gladys's voice, but if that's the quirk the DM wants to assign, I won't argue with the quirk assignment. What
Welcome
quirk do you want to
back,
give to
Jace.
Perseus, DM?
So I wanna lean towards the Gladys. I just welcome back to base, Jace. I see you keep bringing more friends. Did they too try to hurt you?
No, these ones didn't fight us. These ones are Transient's parents.
Upgrading to super citizens.
Super citizens? He tilts his head a bit at this, not sure where this designation came from.
As all your AI seem to have. There's a quirk with this one. As Daniel comes up, what's going on, Perseus? Everything's fine. Citizen Daniel, addressing super citizen Heinrich and super citizen Kisaragi to the new base. Oh, that's great. That's a super citizen. You told me I was what the. I am tired of your AI discriminating against me. I do everything in this base, and I am still a lowly citizen in this. What the heck, Jace?
Jace will walk over and pat him on the shoulder. I am so sorry. I don't program these quirks. I don't know if it's because I'm used to working with Himmeltech and he's always got weird shit in it, or if this is something else, but this you've seen what happens with Rockin' Prime. You've been here when I've tried to fix that, and you know it just doesn't work, even if I restart with completely fresh parts.
Sorry, I have a semantic thing. Do you walk over or hover over?
Hover over, yeah. It's tired brain hours, but yeah, he hovers over at the moment.
It's fine. It's just every time. There's requesting filters changed by citizen Daniel.
Right. I understand how that would get frustrating over time, and I apologize. But yeah, this is would it be Dr. Heinrich Follinger and Dr. Kisaragi Follinger, or do you have different titles to your company? I'm not sure.
They would be doctors. They have their full doctorates. So
Okay.
Well, it's doctor and doctor. There's like a short spurt from down the hall. If I hear doctor and doctor and runner, I'm just going to call you guys. I'm just going to call you guys Neil and Patrick.
All right.
Is that Marla? Is Marla already here?
Yes, she agreed to speak with me yesterday.
Move aside. I'm seeing what she's working on.
Mom, just bury the hatchet already.
I guess they're fired up. Dr. Heinrich Follinger, this is Daniel. He's one of those who, like me, was under Himmel for quite a long time. He's actually one of the individuals who we extracted the chip from.
Nice to meet you. Hi. I was
Dr. Follinger has expertise in the more mystical side of the kind of stuff Himmel used on us, and he's hopefully going to be able to help us come up with means of helping on that front should he try anything that nefarious in the future. May even have means of helping both of us with our legs.
There's a pause in the air as Daniel like nods. Oh, cool, like a shaman of sorts. While Heinrich looks over. Alchemy is a science. I'm a scientist. Right. Alchemy is a science. Cool.
I'd like to point out that his doctorate is actually in material engineering. So
He is a proper doctor, but he is also an expert in alchemy.
I have. I'm a matter scientist. I know matter molecular structures. I can tell you how things are built. Okay, alchemy man.
Daniel,
you
want to know why
one
you?
more time.
Daniel, you want to know why you're not a super citizen? This is why you're not a super citizen.
Jason's gonna move out of the way before Daniel loses it.
You know, yeah, I got business to change. I'm out of here. Forget y'all. Getting me heated up like this anyway. I'm gonna burn something.
You're also going to occasionally see. Is his full name Desmond? Or is it just Des?
No, just Des.
You'll occasionally see Des Thrussell and an individual who refers to himself purely as Stringent. They are also two of the individuals who had the misfortune of being under Himmel for a while. Actually, I feel like you would probably have a lot to talk about with Stringent. His particular ability is that, if I'm not mistaken, Stringent wasn't Stringent the time person, or was he? Because I know Brunhilde was gravity.
He was the other matter manipulator. Sans was the time person.
Right.
Both
Yes.
Sands and Vroomhilda are currently MIA at the current moment. You recall
Right.
both of them being arrested. You're not sure if they are in jail.
Right. But yes, stringent is actually not through alchemical means, but through the same means that our powers through chemical agent 1 work, is capable of manipulating matter on a molecular level. And it would be safe to say that to a certain extent he requires his limbs for that, because during their first introduction, your son turned both of his arms to sand.
Hey. I turned Sand's arms into sand.
Didn't you also try that trick on Stringent?
I did that to Diamond too, or tried to do it on Diamond.
No,
Matthew, yeah.
I got punched to near infinity by not number 7, not number 13. Hey, where's Spencer?
Spencer Prime. But Stringent, this is Dr. Follinger. Dr. Follinger, this is Stringent.
Nice to meet you.
Expert in molecular matter, expert in manipulating matter. He'll step out. He'll not step. He'll back up out of the way.
Mom's probably butting heads with Willisma.
You call that DNA structure? You don't even understand what a double helix consists of.
Perseus, can you turn up the sound dampeners in the walls of that particular room, please?
Sound dampeners up to level 12. 3
Thank
levels left before max level.
Perseus, you might want to max it out. I'm pretty sure they can blow out 12.
I know. I'm saying this offhand. I know they wouldn't be here for helping with the nanomachines project. However, I love the idea of not what is the name of Dahlia's dad?
I think it was not Shane. One second. We have it here in the friends and family. Show me the most realistic of the people here. Up. Okay, so the mother is named Sharon, and it's Darren and Sharon. I completely forgot they had matching names. Oh my goodness, I love.
In that case, well, he probably wouldn't be here for the purposes of, working on the project with the nanomachines. I feel like other Jace would probably want to consult him for weapons purposes. Especially because I feel like Darren, based off what I know of his personality, would absolutely not be able to resist taking a crack at a Humvee.
Yeah, I can see him. I can see him do that.
Like, all right, I understand, kid, that you want my assistance, and I understand you're going out of your way to try and help my daughter, and I appreciate that. But how exactly is any of this going to help me prepare for the aliens? Well, you see, we've got all this technology that could be really useful, and, well, that's all well and good, but what if they use EMPs and black out all the power and all that? Well, we have magic, but what if they're mystic aliens? Well, we have the 4-barrel double caliber turret that we took off the Humvee. I'm sold.
We have that and the ability to create more guns.
Theoretically, we could create new types of guns if you've got the expertise to show us how. And it's like, new types of guns, you say? The government will never see this one coming.
You said to shoot what? 5 of them? Let's see what we can make improvements on.
I feel like other Jace would show him the voltaic gun and be like, this is incredible. This will absolutely fuck over those bastards from the moon of Titan. And it's like, what are you talking about?
chapter 15. Ah, yes, these will definitely take care of the guys who are rounding about in the Andromeda Bay. Andromeda Bay? What's he on? Chapter 43. Shit, we're being attacked by the guys from Andromeda Bay. I warned you. I warned you they were coming.
Meanwhile, the entire party is equipped with the appropriate weapons because Darren saw it coming a mile away.
I warned you.
But,
I warned you they were coming. You bet you didn't believe me, but now you're happy you did.
But yeah, I feel like that would be how one of Dahlia's parents gets in on this. Just we got the trio of scientists. We've got the weapons expert.
Awesome. And I'll definitely make sure to note that.
But yeah, I feel like that about wraps up what Jace needed to talk with the parents about.
Alrighty. Were we willing to call it here for now? I want to say we touched up on quite a few things for the story. I know we didn't touch on a couple things like Cyrus being revealed to have uh, actually been right about the gods, and that his
Yeah.
daughters made contact with several of them. We did not talk about how far the condition has advanced on transients. We just definitely revealed that it is definitely hurting him, and that he does not have markings. Spencer did get to emotionally support Jace and provide comic relief, but he did not get to check up on loose ends that we've had from previous chapters. So I'll more than likely get touched on as we continue on in chapters later. And Dahlia wants to have her stuff dealt with on Saturday. I will try to make an attempt on that.
Well, we could do a second part to an interlude.
True. Interlude part 2, Electric Boogaloo. That would give me an additional 2 weeks to consider how chapter 11? Yeah, chapter 11 is going to pan out for you guys. It'll also give me a chance to pick your guys' brain.
It's also a chance to consider the ramifications of a few of the parents now knowing and having access and being unified behind this goal of working on the nanomachine tech.
Yeah.
And also, just to double check, would word spread among the rest of the party now that Wilda knows about the blackouts, or would Wilda just keep that to herself?
I had planned on addressing it with transient.
So yeah, we're gonna have interlude part 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yep.
Interlude part 2, talking about gods, checking in on the various military things. Spencer runs directly into Himmel's secret lab, runs back out, forgets where it is.
Catching up with the Morality Brigade as they continue on with their personal experiences.
Honestly,
Morality
we don't
Brigade
care
in the
about the
process.
Morality Brigade as long as they're not using Himmeltech.
Yeah, hang on. There's also the fact that we're giving the Morality Brigade new tech, so Jace would obviously give them the newest shipment of that stuff, which I imagine would be fun. But also he'd want to check in and see how the prosecution against Zog the Hog is going.
That's just gonna take 6 months to a year and a half.
I don't know if it is. Not when it's that open and shut.
Yeah, but it's the state versus his defense attorney. Whoever his defense attorney is.
Fair enough, I guess.
That would be saved for next interlude. In the meantime,
I'd like to point out the fallacy of that. It's the government versus the government, because the defense attorney that's assigned to him is also hired by the government.
Yeah.
it makes it even better.
It'll definitely be interesting to see it all. But yeah, I'm basically done with all the J stuff, besides maybe just in the background of other people's stuff, there's a tinkering montage going on next time.
Well, I'd like to meet your other half, but I know that's supposed to be a surprise.
I mean, it may not be a surprise at this point, because he did reveal that he's been having blackouts, so I imagine it will be a situation where it's the group finds out about that, and then it's like, well, we better investigate the next time he tries to do nanotechnology experiments. Oh no, it's a little bit more intense than just blacking out, isn't it?
Yeah.
I honestly feel like everybody who's working on the nanomachine project would probably be fascinated and a little disturbed by that, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, Heinrich could help you with the nanomachine project because material engineer.
He's already done the experimental. Also, that's something I imagine they would be curious about, depending on how distracted Kisaragi is. The subject 01, who is the test for the prototype nanomachines that is experiencing blackouts.
Hmm.
Again, assuming she can pry herself away from having her fists in Marla's hair.
Yeah, Kisaragi was roboticist and structural engineer, so
Oh, she'd fucking adore getting a chance to take a look at Rockin' Prime then.
oh yeah, no, absolutely.
She probably adores this whole fucking base, again, once she lets go of Marla's hair.
Oh yeah, definitely. Honestly, had you opened up with Rocket Prime showing up, and and then showing the bell transformation to Marla, you would have gotten more agreeable responses in their fields. Ironically, you vice versa that.
No, he asked for dates and got 2 different dates.
I mean, yes, on that, but he still switched up using robots on the bio and the bio transformation on the robotist.
Well, in fairness, the bio already knew about the belt. They'd heard about it from their daughter, and if I'm not mistaken, they saw it from Ed.
I mean, yes.
There wasn't a need for a demonstration there.
Mer.
Yeah, it's
But,
just none of the parents have actually seen Rockin' Prime yet until.
They'll get a chance to see it, I'm sure, some point during the interrogation regarding the blackouts, because, again, that'll be fun. But I'm very excited for next time getting to see Spencer just briefly popping in to throw a wrench into everything Hamill's ever done, and then the others having their continued drama. And you know what? Maybe a good place to end that one, depending on how much time it takes, would be visiting in on the blackout. Get a chance to meet Blondie.
Definitely. We'll try to if my work has not gone crazy, we'll try to catch up 2 weeks from now. Hopefully at 6 o'clock or if not sooner. Try to make a little bit more time.
All right.
The day
yeah.
before Halloween. Have a
Do,
night.
do, do, do.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at this
Oh.
interlude and enjoying the free-form slow jazz that was us jabbering at each other.
Okay.
Was
I
it slow
had a-
jazz?
I had a lot of fun not saying anything.
Damn it! I'm sorry, Spencer. You'll start next session, I swear.
It's fine, dude. Don't worry about it.
Spencer, you got one of the most emotionally charged conversations of the night, and then you had the pizza saga.
I made it count.
That poor pizza place closed down because they found them counterfeiting dollar bills.
But how?
Yeah.
There's no equipment. How did they do it? We don't understand.
I can't find the rollers. I can't find plates. I can't even find the
You
chemical
can't
ink
prove they
used for the dye.
counterfeited anything.
We can't prove anything on them. They just had the same bill 20 times over. What do we say? We let them go. We can't let them go. They have the evidence. We'll have them uncircumstantial. The
For all we
cameras.
know, someone else gave them the counterfeit, and they just unfortunately handed it all in.
Unfortunately, what their cameras show is a bunch of these men in mask and costumes. This is just a bunch of Spencers.
So we have a masked ring of counterfeiters out there somewhere in Pyrogal that we now have to track down. Suddenly the FBI is now involved.
Actually, it's a money crime, therefore it'd be the Secret Service.
Ah, fuck.
So we've got the CIA because of the bullshit breaking out of the military base. We've got the Secret Service because of money crimes. I assume we'll have the FBI at some point. Are there any other agencies we need to piss off?
We could Piss off the rest of the ABC soup.
Hi, we are the FDC, and we heard that you're introducing a new chemical line that's affecting the slag people.
You'll have the environmentalist, Greenpeace. You'll
Well,
have
hang on. The
FTC for
environmentalists
trade.
already are in the sunny, and they're after Wham. Don't even begin that shit.
And then we're
Greenpeace is
gonna,
all over Wham.
and then we'll have the FTC in for trade violations. We'll probably have,
Listen,
God, what are the other 50 million acronyms?
listen. All in all, I'm definitely gonna have the FCC and whoever deals with the trade, not the trade, the copyright committee on my ass for how much I break rules just by talking on this shit.
Also, we're still recording, so bye recording.
Later, recording.
Bye.
See you in 2 weeks when we continue Interlude Part 2, Electric Boogaloo.